You are listening to Let's Talk Trio on podcasts. Keep up with the latest episodes by downloading the Podbean app or stream episodes via our social media accounts. Search for Let's Talk Trio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This podcast episode is brought to you by Longsdale Publishing. Is your program seeking ways to assess your students' college readiness? Does your program need a tool to document the effectiveness of your program? Longsdale Publishing is excited to offer the Strategic Learning Assessment, a 20-minute online assessment that provides recommendations and strategies to improve academic performance across 11 learning areas: communication, critical thinking, effective learning strategies, focus and concentration, growth mindset, persistence, seeking help, sense of belonging, stress management, test preparation, and time management. For as little as $3 per student, the Strategic Learning Assessment identifies strengths and areas for growth, along with tailored recommendations for each learning area. Want a complimentary sample account for yourself and 5 students? Contact Longsdale Publishing at 727-389-8026. Again, that number is 727-389-8026. Or visit our website for more information at www.longsdale.com. That website again is www.longsdale.com. Longsdale Publishing, your partner in student success. This episode is sponsored by Student Access. Student Access, the leader in Trio software. Student Access is an online database solution that allows Trio programs to track their students' information, connect with students by text messages, streamline the APR, and work from anywhere, all online, with automatic updates for changes from the Department of Education. Their technical support team includes former Trio staff and has over 50 years of combined experience working with Trio. Make it easier to focus on your priority, the students. For more information and to request a free demo, visit their website at www.studentaccess.com or call them toll-free at 1-800-801-1232. That website again is www.studentaccess.com or 1-800-801-1232. Be sure to share your favorite episodes on your social media by tapping that share button. This is a great way to support the podcast. Now here's your host, Juan Rivas.
Thank you, Amelia, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, Trio Nation, and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Trio. This is Season 7, Episode 36. I am your host, Juan Rivas. Before we begin, some community announcements. Trio Nation, your voice is working. While Congress is moving to protect Trio funding for 2026, we must remain vigilant. Administrative shifts still threaten the stability of Trio grants. Take action now by calling your congressional representatives today. Thank them for their bipartisan support and urge them to ensure Trio programs remain fully funded and operational without delay. Let them know that Trio works. The link to find your congressional representative can be found on the episode description. In today's episode, we have the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals. I had an amazing time connecting with the Idaho professionals, working with the Trio programs. I was able to give the opening speech, which I am truly and deeply thankful for, being able to share my own Trio story. So a shout out to the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals, and a huge thanks to my friends Reinalyn, Echon, Dr. James Pascali, and Mr. Maurice Pittman. Thank you all so much for your warm reception in Idaho. Idaho felt like home, was warmly received. Again, a great shout out to the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals. Also, a huge thanks to my supervisors here at Colorado State University Online who supported my trip and encouraged me to go out and talk about my experience with CSU Online and the ever-evolving educational landscape that we continue to face. But I primarily definitely talking about my experience as a first-gen student and now professional for CSU Online. So again, a huge thanks to everybody involved. That trip was amazing. It was a bit of a whirlwind of a trip. I was there for 3 days. Was there for the first day of the conference. Able to meet with a lot of folks, attend a couple sessions, but also connect with a lot of Idaho Trio professionals and some of their students to talk about their experience in Trio and advocacy. So what you're going to hear next is a variety of interviews / podcast sessions that was happening throughout the day. And these are folks who are sharing their experiences being in the Trio program or working for a Trio program. And you're going to only hear a little bit of their journey. Now, some of these folks I did invite to come back at some point, so we're going to reconnect with them in a future episode where we will feature their story like we've done in a traditional setting. So coming up in just a bit, you're going to be hearing from the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals. I was there at their conference yeah, it was an amazing experience. So again, thank you all to all involved. Thank you to the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals and the executive board. Thank you to my friends. Thank you for everyone for the advocacy to join you there. And yes, I enjoyed sharing my Trio story, my speech, and hopefully you were able to identify your why. A quick, heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters: Angelica Villalpando, Rosario Riley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Jeff Naputi, Angelica Valdez, Felicia Rivera, Eric Lamaster, Jeff Calden, Rick Martinez, Don Blue Sky Hill, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors: TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, Longsdale Publishing, Student Access, and thetriostore.com, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for Trio graduation stoles. Thank you all so much for your continued support of this podcast. You too can be a sponsor of the Let's Talk Trio podcast in one of 3 ways. Become a monthly patron on Patreon. Our support starts for a little. You can support this podcast for as little as $1 a month. If you own a business that serves the Trio community and want to sponsor the podcast, contact us. We have different sponsorship packages available. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is @Let'sTalkTrio. Your support helps lift Trio voices. If you would like to nominate a participant, staff, or alumni to be on the podcast, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is LETS. That email again is LETSTALKTRIO@gmail.com. Again, a great episode featuring the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals Conference. So you're going to be hearing from a variety of folks working in Trio or students of Trio programs there in Idaho. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. So I'm sitting here with a longtime friend of mine we've connected several times.
Several times.
And you came to Colorado State University, gave you that tour, which was amazing, that you brought your students out there.
Sure did.
And then you did a podcast session as well.
Yes.
And folks, I'm talking about the one and only Maurice Pittman joining me. Maurice, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is amazing to rejoin each other again. And
yes.
I got to give 2 shout outs. One, so today is April 7th, and today is my mom's birthday. She's been passed away, but today is her birthday, and I want to give a shout out to my mom. She would have been 80 years old today.
Mom.
Her name's Carolyn Pittman. And also to my good friend Bernadine Boogie, who
Bernadine.
Bernadine. We have never met in person, but that's been like that's been my road dog for like almost 10 years, man. So I got to give a shout out to her. And if you haven't heard her podcast, go hear her podcast. It's amazing. It's awe-inspiring and all that good stuff. So, but it's good for you to be here, man. I'm glad you're in Pocatello.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and it was such a warm reception. Y'all had me do a little morning conference speaker, which I'm so glad. I'm also on the conference booklet, which amazing. It's a great souvenir.
Yes.
I'm taking it back to Colorado State
and
showing my supervisors as well. But Maurice, you also have a lot of great news, because since we last spoke with you, you were thinking about doing an educational program.
Yes.
A doctorate.
A doctorate, yes.
What's the update since?
Right. So I have finished all my classes, so I guess I am all but ABD, all but dissertation. So I will be working on my all my studies and stuff this summer, getting participants for my study, and doing a qualitative study on my topic is early career, first generation student affairs professionals and burnout.
Wow.
So I'm looking at people who are first generation in a student affairs position, who are earlier in the career, 0 to 5 years, who have experienced some type of burnout. I will be getting in hopefully you guys will come into my study with me so I can get out of here and graduate, hopefully in spring of 27. And also my wife will be graduating with her master's degree in social work. So we're going to hopefully be finishing together. And my wife, Terry. So yeah, that's my update so far, brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that journey, because for a lot of folks who might be interested in pursuing a doctoral program, what was that like for you? And what was that journey like?
Well, if you listened to my podcast many years ago, I moved to Pocatello, Idaho for a doctoral program, and I was in a doctoral program for counselor education. And things happened to where I didn't finish. And then I started working at ISU, and then went back to school, and I looked at education, so the educational doctorate at leadership. And it's more my speed, it's more of what I want to do, and I can still be a practitioner and still have that degree and still help people and not be a professor per se, but to still be in that role of like, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too, eventually.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. And awesome to see that you're still with Trio, and
Always.
you've been with Trio for a long time.
Man, I got to tell you, so I've been with Trio probably about 11 or 12 years, and I can tell you now that I am the longest and oldest employee of Trio at Idaho State University. I've been here the longest.
Congratulations.
And now my students are now employees of yes. So Fatima, the one you mentioned.
Yeah, I met Fatima,
now.
yeah.
Stephen was one of my students as
Right
well.
on.
And many more. I'm just seeing the journey become full circle as now students are now becoming co-workers and all that good stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that land for you as you're reflecting on your career here at Idaho State University?
It's crazy because I didn't come here for Trio. I came here for school, 3 years in, 3 years out. But next thing you know, everything happens for a purpose and a reason. And I needed Trio in my life again to help me, to help other people. And it's humbling. And I just got an award last week from the university, Be a Bengal, and I got an award where they recognized me for being an outstanding person on campus and an advocate, and Trio and stuff like that. And I got to give a shout out to my old SSS partner, Juanita Gonzalez, who she got an award as well. But it's surreal that I'm still here and I'm still doing what I want to do, and it's amazing.
Awesome! Congratulations on that award, by the way, my friend. We're here at the Idaho Trio Professionals Conference, the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals Conference.
Yes,
sorry,
IATP.
What have you what is your involvement like with IATP? What does that look like for you? And things. Yeah.
So I used to be heavily involved with IATP as far as advocating, and I still am, but I had to take a little step back to focus on school and to focus on family and so forth.
Yeah.
But I still have my role, so I run the Friends of NAIOP store, the Fawn store, which has Trio merchandise and so forth. So all the proceeds that I sell go towards student scholarships.
That's
so
awesome.
if you've ever been on the website, the Friends of NAIOP, that's me who sends you all the items. From sweatshirts to thumb drives to folders to pencils to pens. That's me who's sending you stuff, and hopefully, that money all goes towards student scholarships.
That's awesome.
That's my role right now, as far as for IATP and the Trio professionals right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I see that you all have a great lineup of conference speakers,
yes,
and concurrent workshops and all that. What are you hoping to gain from this conference?
So, every time I come, I go to a state conference. One is to reconnect with my Trio professionals within the state. I don't get to see them probably once a year, or unless they come here to visit with their students. And a lot of the workshop presenters are either former Trio professionals and still friends. So like Reinalyn and Echon, and who's my former partner, and now she's working with Bengal Bridge. So it's about the connection. And so for me to get out of it is, one, to connect, and to reiterate that we're here to stay, and Trio does indeed work.
On that same vein, where you're saying Trio works, Trio is kind of at a volatile stage right now, right?
Yeah.
There seems to be this push to eliminate Trio programs once again by this administration.
Sure.
Why is the importance of advocacy? Like, how do we continue amplifying Trio voices to make sure that our representatives and our congressional representatives understand how important these Trio programs are?
Well, it's important, first of all, for our students and our alumni to be on board, because it's your story that helps us to continue to advocate for us. So when we go to policy seminar and those big I can't think of the word, conferences.
There you go.
Thank you.
You got it.
It's great that our students can go, because it's the student stories that tug at those heartstrings. Of course, yes, it's the numbers, but it's the students that what they got out of our program hopefully are congressional people. They understand that, hey, without these students, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a job.
Right.
And so it's important that our students continue to, one, advocate for themselves, and of course that we as employees advocate for our Trio family and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maurice, I know that this is going to be a short podcast, but
Sure.
What is one thing you want to share to the audience in terms of like inspiration or encouragement, or right now we might find ourselves kind of in the dumps, or finding ourselves kind of in a rut in terms of like advocacy, or even yelling at the top of our lungs. Like what keeps you going?
That is a great question. I've asked myself that question a lot. Not that I've ever, at this point in time, ever want to leave Trio at this point in time, but what keeps me going is the students, the students that come every year, those faces of like, I need help and I don't know how to ask. I was one of those students when I was in Trio, SSS at Cal State University, Bakersfield in Bakersfield, California. I have to get a shout out to my university, my alumni, and so forth. But it's the students. Like, I can't reiterate enough that without the students, I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a purpose. And the degrees that I'm getting, one is helping myself, of course, but it's also helping the students to see that a person of color and a person can get a degree and keep going, and to know that I'm helping these students, and I don't like these awards. I don't really care. All I want is my students to get through school, graduate, but also come out as a better person, and to know that they were one person as they came in, but as they matured, they're a different person as they come out,
Absolutely.
And go into the real world and understand that, to continue to advocate and continue to say, hey, this program works. These people are here to help. And I just want to help. That's all I really want to do is help. And I guess, as Malcolm X said, by any means necessary.
Yeah.
But we got to continue to advocate and continue to help. So
Absolutely.
That's where I'm at.
On Instagram, we follow each other, and
Yes.
I also on Facebook.
Yeah.
I love seeing the photos of your walks, because you take so great photos. One, great photos.
Thank
but
you.
under those, you put captions like "You're really reflective."
Man.
What's going through your mind in those moments? Like, are you taking those walks for like inspiration? Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, so I gotta say, like, we all need our self-care, and that's something that I really wasn't doing before, and that's part of why my dissertation about that burnout is I did not have a self-care routine for myself. And so I go for my walks, and I really gotta just give thanks to God that this universe, this planet exists, breathing in the air and just seeing the beauty of nature and the trees and just reflection and taking the pictures. It doesn't even do justice what's in my head and what I see. It's just it's a glimpse, and it rejuvenates me. It makes me feel like I am a bigger part of this huge world, and wow. By taking pictures and just by going for my walks and just being in the moment has really helped me to stay grounded,
I like that. The grounded part and just the reflective and I know like when we take photos with our iPhones or with our cameras, like sometimes we're like, it doesn't capture, but you almost feel the intent behind the photo.
Yeah,
you feel
like
the reflection of what you're trying to say.
It's a voice, and it's helping me to get through some like stuff that I've been trying to work out in my head, going to therapy, and the pictures are a reflection of what I see, and I hope that that people can just get a glimpse of what I see every day, and to know that that working out stuff through pictures is something that is really been resonating with me right now,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What are some things that you want to say to the Idaho listeners that might be listening about
Sure.
not only this conference, but as you give your final thoughts on this podcast?
Right. So first off, this conference is a great conference. Again, we're hosting it at Idaho State University in Pocatello, Idaho, and to know that, we have a good working relationship with our other universities within Idaho. And to know that, every year we come together, and it's not just to see each other, but to learn from each other and to advocate, and to know that we are trying to make a difference within our community, within our state, and within the bigger picture. And also to know that we are in these trenches together, and also to give a shout out to you, because, when we first met, in person, it was like, I don't only want to be Idaho. I want to branch out to everywhere, to know that
That's right.
we are all in this fight together.
That's right.
To advocate for ourselves and for our students, for our universities, and for the greater good, to know that we are making a difference. And it's not just Idaho, it's everywhere. And the more I get to branch out and to see my other true professionals and to have that relationship, that's what I'm about. Like, I love the relationship that I have with other, people outside my region, Felicia Killsworth up in Wyoming, and Bernadine Bookie up in New Mexico, who I've never met,
I'm guessing that'll change soon.
I hope so. As much as we talk, I hope it does change, and to know that, where my trio journey started in West Stop, Cal State University, Bakersfield in California, and to know that now with NAIOP, our region here, and know that, yes, we are 10 different regions, but we all are here to advocate for the same goal,
Yeah, absolutely. Maurice, thank you so much for being on this podcast, man.
Brother.
I appreciate you.
It, man.
Yes.
Yes.
I am joined by Robin now here at the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals Conference. She is with the Boise State Educational Talent Search Program. Robin, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And you also hold a different position as well. What else do you do?
Yeah, I also work for the Trio Upward Bound program during their summer school as a math teacher.
That must keep you busy all year round.
Yes.
Wow.
All year round.
How do you find time for that? Like, where's your balance?
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Just making sure that my home life and my family take priority, like making sure that I am focusing on my home life enough to keep me, balanced and be able to be there for the students.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, we're here at the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals Conference. First of all, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I feel very embraced here by this trio community.
Awesome.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experience with this conference and what you hope to gain or to learn from here?
Yes, so I've been working with Trio Educational Talent Search full-time this is my 5th year, so for 5 years now. And originally I was hired as a tutor for this program.
Yeah.
This was right after the pandemic, and during the pandemic I had done some tutoring for the Trio Educational Talent Search and for the Trio Upward Bound programs over Zoom. And so
wow.
I did a few hours a week for each of those programs, and Petya, the program director for ETS, wrote me into the next grant as a tutor, and I slowly started taking on schools over the next couple years, and within that I started attending conferences, a couple years after starting as the tutor, and now I am a full-time educational specialist. I've got 4 schools that I visit throughout the week, every week, and I am also a tutor. I offer some tutoring services on Zoom a couple nights a week for all of our students in the ETS program. Awesome. So, yeah.
Well, that must have been a very unique experience to be hired at the time of COVID and learn how to transition your services to Zoom. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I had been working for the Trio Upward Bound program since 2010, just in the summers, teaching their summer school program math classes. And when COVID happened, I was a math teacher during the school year at a school in Boise, a magnet school, a math and science center. And we had to go virtual. And that summer, we did the Trio Upward Bound program virtual. It was tricky, but we had helpers for every teacher, and the Zoom rooms were, so having been a teacher since March and having to do things virtually with students there, having to, do that during the summer school program, when the school year started, and I was taking a year leave of absence due to my daughter's health problems with her heart and other things.
I'm so sorry
I was told that we should all try to stay home if we could. So I took a year leave of absence and decided I'll just tutor, which is how that kind of came about. I started my own private tutoring company, and I was doing that, and then I did a few hours for Trio, this program, that program. And the very next year, I was, instead of going back to teaching math at the high school level, I got written into the next grant and became the Trio ETS tutor. And it, it was tricky, but the kids were used to going online, so I got a lot of kids that would come to these tutoring sessions, and they would find that it was just as if they were sitting right next to me with my document camera, and sometimes even easier to see the page. So some kids are nervous about doing it, but I tell them, I'm like, it's just, it allows me to meet with kids back to back, and there's no travel time. Plus my students are spread out. We have 1,600 students in the Treasure Valley, all over the place, and so I could have a student up in the mountains in Idaho City. I could tutor them. I could tutor a kid from Melba or Homedale out, on the farms.
For our listeners, Idaho is pretty spread out, right? It's a really spread out. The cities are spread out within Idaho, but wow, you're servicing a lot of students. That's amazing. So you say you got written into the grant. What was that like for you to be officially like a Trio professional at that point?
I was really excited because I loved teaching the math courses that I taught for these kids that were super advanced. So I was teaching junior high and high school kids, but I was teaching high school and college math during the school year. I loved my Trio summers. I loved within 5 weeks, we became family every summer. It just was such an impactful experience every time. It still is. I still do this every summer. I teach as a math teacher for them. And yeah, I just, I fell in love with the program. I had always wanted to work more with TRIO somehow. And so when that happened, I loved teaching math, but going back to teaching math after getting this offer to work more with TRIO students, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I want to help these kids.
That's awesome.
I just love
Absolutely.
TRIO so much. And so I have my own experience of not having a clue what to do after high school and taking a very long journey. I didn't receive my bachelor's degree to become a math teacher until I was 32 years old.
Oh, wow. So your path was a little, some would say unconventional. It didn't follow
Yes.
the traditional path.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, tell us a little about that.
Yeah. I don't know how much time you have, but I was
Oh, you have plenty.
Okay. I was just going to mention, because my story really starts with my mom's. And so when I was growing up, my parents had 4 kids by the age of 25. My dad was planning to become a pastor, and right in the middle of those 4 kids started using drugs and became a drug addict instead. So he's been sober now almost 30 years. I think he just hit 29. Yeah.
That's
so
fantastic.
he's doing wonderful now. People always ask when I tell this story, they're like, what about Dad?
Yeah.
But yeah, at the time, my mom, she found herself in a place that she thought, I got to go to school. She's super smart, like crazy smart. So she started college at the age of 30 after being out of school for many years. And right as soon as the youngest started kindergarten, the youngest child, she went to school. And she ended up transferring from a community college within a year and a half to a university. We were in Riverside, California, so there's UCR.
Oh, wow.
And, Dad's in and out of our lives off and on until I was 15. She got her bachelor's in physics. And then she loves astronomy, so she went on to get her master's in astrophysics.
Wow.
And most of this as a single mom with 4 kids, all 4 teenagers at once.
That is tremendous. That is tremendous.
She kept going.
Yeah.
She got her PhD, and since everything was going green in the 90s, she didn't think she could get an astronomy job. So she switched to soil and environmental physics. And however, when she finished, she was placed for her postdoctorate at JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. And she got hired from there by NASA.
Whoa.
So she finished her last degree when I was 19 and pregnant with my first child. And then she went on to go work for NASA, and she was at Caltech University working for NASA, giving commands to a satellite orbiting the sun. And that stuff was happening as I was already starting my family and I was an adult. So I had started community college myself right out of high school. I was spent 2 years and didn't do so well, wasn't going to class, just making, lame choices. And when I had my first son at the age of 19, I had to work full time, and I was a single mom. And so I started back to community college when he was 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I had met my first husband. And so I had extra support. And I just took one class a semester for a couple years at the same community college I'd started at. And from there, when my son was 6 and I had my second child, my daughter, we ended up moving to Idaho. My daughter had heart surgery. Their dad had lost his job, and so we decided we don't want to live in Southern California anymore. You know, and so we found Kuna, Idaho. If anybody knows Kuna, back then it was only 5,000 people, and I ran the Cub Scouts and did the small town thing for a while. We were all in the parade, lived there about 7.5 years. And but after we moved here, when my daughter was 2 years old, I said I want to go back to school, So I started back at Boise State at the age of 28 and ended up finishing. It took 4 years because I ended up with 2 bachelors. I ended up
That's amazing.
with a scholarship through the National Science Foundation that I, in order to have it, had you were supposed to be a math major that they encouraged to go to teach instead. Well, I was going to teach all along. I loved children. I'd always taken care of children. And so that's what I wanted to do with math. And so they said, well, you just have to take all these extra math classes.
Yeah.
So then I realized, well, if I just take
extra
this,
math classes.
Yeah, I was like, yay, I was excited. I love math. But I just needed like one extra computer class and something else to get a second degree. So I ended up with my teaching degree for mathematics and then a pure math degree as well.
Wow.
Which led me to be able to work at that magnet school and teach the kids those college courses, some of which most math teachers don't even take.
Yeah.
You know? And now that I'm working for TRIO full time, it has allowed me to teach one class a semester at BSU as an adjunct professor as well. That's my side gig.
That's
So,
awesome.
I know.
I love how all this is like, right? You're putting everything that you've learned into practice. TRIO professional, side gig as at Boise State, and then also working as a tutor for Upward Bound in the summers.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So you're sharing this like love of knowledge. I'm getting a sense like you really love sharing about what you've learned.
Yes.
That's
I do.
awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What are some some words of advice or words of wisdom that you would have for TRIO professionals who are getting started, or even TRIO students who are finding themselves in the path of college?
Yeah, and specifically because I teach or I work with high school students mostly. You know, what I try to share with them is you know, that there's all these opportunities out there, and so. And even if because I have some kids that they're like, oh, I'm not going to do anything after high school. I just want to work, or which is fine too. But, and I just say, well, we're going to do this stuff, you know, so that you can see what all of your opportunities are out there. You can practice applying to a trade school or a college, so you know how to do that. You can practice applying for a scholarship, so you know how to do that. You've filled out a FAFSA before you leave my program, you know.
Right.
And so, and I'll even say to some of them if they need to hear it, because every once in a while, you know, you get those kids that are like, I'm not doing anything after all, or whatever. I just say, you know, maybe 2 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, you'll be like, oh, I remember Robin said. She said I could go to that community college, CWI, and you could start from anywhere at those schools.
Absolutely.
Do anything. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
I think that's
That's
important
what I
for
would
them
share.
No, that's great pieces of advice, because you're right, absolutely right. There are students that will immediately go into college, and then there's some that will take their time, eventually finding their path there. So to know that they can always come back. Or they can always do that. That's great. What about for TRIO professionals? Like, what would you say to folks who are finding themselves in the TRIO path as a professional?
Okay, I would say that the key thing is to make sure you take care of yourself so that you can be in a good place to provide the best support for our students.
Yeah.
Because if you're, you know, burning the candle at both ends and not providing yourself, you know, whatever time and care you need it, you know, when it's warranted, then you're not going to be able to provide the best support you could for them, and we know that that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be working for TRIO.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, I know we only want to do a 10 minutes, and we're almost at 15, I think. But
nice.
It's all good. It's all good. Right now, TRIO is facing a little bit of volatility, right? The current administration is seeking to eliminate TRIO programs. There's pushback against that. Their folks need to advocate, obviously. So how do we get communities to advocate for TRIO?
Yes, share all the time. Whenever people ask me what I do, I tell them what TRIO is, because they're always like, what is that? So I always explain to them what we do, the types of students we help support, so a lot of the times I'll run into people, and I'll tell you, especially in the medical field out here, I can't tell you how many, with the kids I have and helping my mom out sometimes, nurses and things, that they're former TRIO students.
Wow.
You know, a lot of them, and it's been really neat because, you know, it's just it's a big family. The feelings you get from hanging out with and sharing stories with other TRIO people, whether they're professionals or alumni, is just really powerful.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Any parting thoughts before we wrap up your session?
No, I think I...
Yeah, I think you did fantastic. No, you did excellent. I am here with two staff members from the University of Idaho TRIO Upward Bound program. I'm going to let them introduce themselves because they're also TRIO alumni. So, yes.
My name is Lacey Connor. I am an alumni of the STEM Access Upward Bound Math Science program that's based in the Lewiston and Clarkson Valley. I started working for that program while I was in college as a mentor and an outreach assistant. While I was getting my bachelor's degree in social work, I eventually transferred over to the Bridge, Idaho Upward Bound program, where I now work as an outreach coordinator, and I'm finishing up my master's degree in social work.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
My name's Eric Gower. I'm an alumni of Educational Talent Search through Lewis Clark State College and Upward Bound through University of Idaho. Went up to U of I, got my degree in 2017, got a full-time job with TRIO, and just been chipping away still. Got a master's and almost done with a doctorate. So.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
to both of you, amazing work that you're doing. So we're here at the Idaho Association of TRIO Professionals. This is day one. What are some things that you're learning about in this conference so far?
I think one of the biggest things I've learned is that you have a podcast.
Oh, thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
got to meet you, and then also just networking and meeting other TRIO professionals that I haven't known. I've been in the field for about 5 years. I've got my 5-year tag on.
Wow.
And so just getting to meet new people, see old friends.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'd say about the same. I've been here. This is going on my 11th year, so getting to see some returners and catching up with some old friends from other institutions. Then also, meeting some new people. Kind of excited for the new rollout of the SEAT teams and seeing how that's going to go. It's just good seeing everyone in person and not on Zoom.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, being in person is a lot more, it feels more connection there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zoom can feel a little distant.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about, you've been in the field for 5 years.
Yes.
Lacey, what have you learned about yourself as a TRIO professional, and what do you hope to continue learning?
Yeah, so I'm going to actually talk about my own experiences as a student.
Yes.
I don't think I would have graduated high school without TRIO. I got to my senior year. I ended up being homeless my senior year of high school. And my outreach person was like my safe space. I was in his office very frequently, and like we would joke, and like that laughter's healing. We love that. And he encouraged me to keep pushing. I graduated in the year of COVID, so that also was really hard. But we did Zoom meetings once a week during COVID. So that kept me going, kept me pushing. I graduated high school. I made it to college. That first week of college, he reached out to see if I needed anything, if I needed assistance, like if there was any last minute things. And that really, like, I'm important. That's what it made me feel like. And that, I think, changed the way I thought about college. Mm-hmm. So I continued on. I didn't really know I went in undecided. I ended up deciding social work, obviously. And then after my first year, that same outreach coordinator reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want a job? And so I joined as an outreach assistant and kind of fell in love with it. I got to give back to my home community and also make those same students feel like they were important, that they can do it. Like, I came from where you're coming, or where you're from. I did it. I get to be the example and be able to push them to be their best self.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think for me, growing up, single mom, just the two of us, and had a buddy, he comes down the hall. He's like, "Hey, you should come to DC with me this summer." I was like, "What are you talking about? I can't afford to go to DC." And he's like, "No, like go talk to Randy in the library. That's Upper Bound. Go join that program." And so I went talk to Randy. I got in the program, and yeah, like the DC trip, something that I was never going to be able to do like on my own. Getting to go see all of that, really kind of visualize, possibly going to college and doing something outside of the community. And then senior year, I'm going talking to the counselor, trying to figure out some scholarship stuff. And I just remember she's like, "Oh, that's a really good question. You should research that and let me know what the answer is." And I was like, "Wait, isn't this your job?" So, having Randy there with Upward Bound, even went over and talked to the counselor at a neighboring school, and got the help I needed to kind of end up where I'm at. And then, yeah, it's kind of same deal. I knew that they were hiring for summer mentors after my sophomore year. I applied, I got in, and then I just kind of never left. And I just kind of kept taking Randy's job. Like, he recruited me into the program as a student, and then I became a staff member, and I took over his outreach school as he moved up. And I took over associate director as he moved up, and then I took over director as he left U of I. I took his job one last time, and yeah, still here, still going strong. So
Absolutely. What resonates with you all strongly about TRIO? What is it about TRIO that really speaks to you?
So I, again, social work background, and I serve, our TRIO serves underserved communities, and underserved students, and we get to, so a big thing in social work is meeting our clients or our students or our patients, whatever field you're in, meeting them where they're at. So getting to meet my students where they're at and get them to where they want to be, I think, is the biggest thing. And seeing, getting a freshman and then watching them go through their high school and just absolutely flourish, or getting the scholarship that they really wanted, or getting into their dream school, that's my favorite part. Or we take students to DC, and they've never been, so my community doesn't have a single stoplight. I don't think any of our communities do.
No.
So, and none of our communities have stoplights. That's how small and rural they are.
Wow.
So taking them to DC and showing them how to navigate the metro system, or showing them these big colleges that this is possible, and they get to find, it clicks in their own brain, this is possible. I can achieve this.
No, I think for me it's really similar, the traveling part. Like Lacey said, they don't have any stoplights, so two of our schools, our furthest out schools, for their driver's ed program, they have to drive an hour to the nearest city that has stoplights so they can practice going through stoplights for their driver's ed class, an hour one way. And then we take them, a lot of them it's their first time ever being on a plane, so navigating that. I'll sit down with my group before we leave and all right, what's the one thing that'll make this trip for you? And inevitably I'll have a kid say oh, I want to see a skyscraper, or I want to get a hot dog from a hot dog cart on the sidewalk, or some stuff like that. And the skyscraper thing, when we were going to New York, I'm easy, we'll check that one off the first day. And you take these kids from small rural Idaho and you drop them in Times Square, and you kind of watch them implode a little bit, and you build them back up, and you're kind of unlocking this whole world of possibilities, or opportunities. Hey, I've been here. I kind of know what to expect. I know how to fly. I know what to do if my flight gets canceled. And even just they small town kids are oh, I can't wait till I graduate and I get out, and I'm never coming back to this place. And then we take them out and show them some of the the big cities. They romanticize New York from film or social media or whatever.
Right.
And some of them, those trips are reaffirming. They're yeah, this is definitely, I love this. This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
But for a lot of them, they're oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I really took home for granted. Maybe a closer college is a better option or a better fit. And just kind of giving them those experiences. So when they do graduate high school, whatever decision they make is kind of based on their own information, rather than a romanticized ideal or fear of the unknown. Either way, really enjoy kind of doing all of that.
What has been so far your favorite memory working in TRIO?
One of my students who comes from a lower income background. I mean, all of them do, but this one, low income, single parent household, they got enough scholarships to pay for their first 2 years of college.
Whoa.
And then, so that was great. But then I saw them during their freshman year after the first semester, and I didn't see them first. They saw me and they came up to me in public and they were like, Lacey, I'm on the honor roll. I got a 4.0 this semester. And that was like huge for them because they weren't the best student in high school. They didn't have the greatest GPA, but then they got to college and everything clicked. They joined clubs, they were interactive, like really taking all of the supports that college had and using it to the fullest extent, and completely blossomed once they got there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, those kind of small victories. I had a student walk in and, you know, a lot of our families, low income, but they're, you know, it's a good family. It's just socioeconomic status isn't, you know, as well off, but some of them aren't good family dynamics, and so, you know, kind of becoming like their person that they're excited to tell like their academic successes to. And I had a student come in like, you know, Gower, I got an A on that test, or, you know, I think it was an A on a test. It was some really good academic achievement, and like, you know, we celebrated like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, and like they were just so excited to tell me that, because they didn't, you know, if they told whoever at home, it wasn't gonna, you know, they weren't gonna care, they weren't gonna really say anything, but like that had been something that we've been working on, and yeah, just kind of being the person that they're proud to talk about like their academic success versus like some social circles, like they get teased for being trying too hard, you know, being the brown noser, you know, whatever. Like, and then having students be like, you know, I want to try. I'm tired of, you know, playing dumb or, you know, anything like that. Kind of reversing the dynamic around a little bit. Those are really cool moments.
What advice do you have for TRIO students currently in their program, either in high school or for students in college or for folks seeking a path back into college?
Reach out.
Yeah.
Like, reach out to your nearest resources. So if that's the college advising office, if you're in a TRIO program, reach out to your TRIO person, and they'll be able to direct you in the right direction. If you're not in a TRIO program and want to apply, find out how you can be a part of that program, or just reaching out to college resources.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like TRIO in general does a really good job of coordinating across wide ranges of services and, you know, EOC, and trying to recruit their students. They're in all over, versus like Upper Bound, we're kind of more in the high schools, but we have contacts at all the colleges. You know, just getting a hold of anybody can probably start you in the right path. And, you know, if there's, like, I had a parent, they were asking me stuff about their student, and then in that conversation, they were starting to ask about stuff of their own in terms of going back to school, or, you know, getting a better, you know, increasing their degree or getting a degree. And I'm like, well, you know, there's this EOC program that is really in this world, but this is some of the information that I know. Here's some other resources. I think if you can just get in touch with somebody that can set you on the right path, and like TRIO being the web that it is, we can get you connected to somebody that is more up your alley of what you're looking for, even if we aren't, you know, have limited experience in what you're looking for.
Sure thing. What about advice for TRIO professionals, whether they're in their first year or they've been a veteran for a while?
I would say first year professionals, like, get involved with the community in terms of building your own network, whether that's other TRIO professionals or like institution contacts or local resources, like building your kind of support network web in terms of people you can ask questions to, people that you can refer. You know, someone comes to you, you might not know what they're really asking or what resources that they need, but having someone that you can refer them to or someone that you can reach out to help answer that, kind of making yourself the resource of choice. But then veterans, I I'd say, I mean, honestly, probably really looking out for and helping mentor those young professionals that are coming into the TRIO world and kind of need some extra support, because it's very overwhelming. And I mean, even just in the sessions, they're throwing out all these acronyms and everything, and they're like, oh yeah, if you don't know what these are, this is kind of what they do, but they didn't even say like what the acronym was, and like we have a new person with us, and so we're like, all right, we know you're overwhelmed. Like let's hash this out. Let's try and put some context on this. Imparting your institutional knowledge and history to the next generation, to help keep this whole thing on the tracks.
I think I'm going to say ditto for almost all of that. I think my first couple years was definitely like creating the relationships in the schools, for me, like as a professional, and then also within the community, because it's such a tight-knit community. And then for more veteran, again, also like helping train and teach our newer professionals, and like you have resources, you can reach out, like don't hesitate. Here's the template of the job. Like I feel like it does take 3 years to be like fully like I know what I'm doing, and even then like we're still getting curveballs thrown at us, but I feel like in our world we are very adaptable.
Absolutely.
Just piggybacking on what you said about the schools, especially like for the high school serving programs, like that relationship with your schools is so big. And I know there's some programs, not necessarily TRIO, but there's programs out there like, they'll drop off their application packets to the front desk at the high school and be like, hey, can you recruit 30 students for me? Thanks, bye. And then it's like, no, like the school's not there to do your job. We are, community outreach programs. We are there to support the schools and help the schools, help the students. So the more you can build that relationship, going in and helping out a teacher in a class, like you're going to have some students in there too. Like it's dually beneficial, but then also getting the schools to see you as an additional resource rather than an additional burden. Those school resources and relationships are going to pay a lot of dividends, whether that's space in the school for like an office or helping you out come APR time, or whatever, having those relationships where they're like, oh yeah, you've been a huge asset for us, and now you need this one little thing from us, like happy to help you, versus oh my gosh, these people are reaching out again, like ignore.
Final question for you all as I pivot a little bit. Advocacy for TRIO is super important, especially now, with the volatility of what's happening at the administration level, at the executive office. Why is it important to continue advocating for TRIO? And two, how can folks who may be outside of TRIO continue to help, or how can they help advocate for TRIO?
I think sharing, like if you're a TRIO alumni, sharing your story. If you're a TRIO staff, sharing your story or student stories. If you're not, like if you've just seen somebody impacted, the likelihood that you know somebody who is in TRIO is pretty high. And just sharing the stories within your community, going on social media, talking to people, I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely sharing your story. I went to policy seminar. We have the fact book with student highlight stories, and our program was very fortunate. We had, I think 3 years in a row, we had the alumni from our program was the Upward Bound student story representative for the entire state of Idaho. And that's really cool, and getting their story out there and sharing it with the senators and representatives and stuff like that. But then also, every time that there's a call to action or anything like that, we all have access to preloaded templates. So even if like you want to do something, you just don't know what to do, like if you can just reach out to a TRIO person, they can share those templates with you, and then, you just tweak them however you need and post them. And so it's not like, recreating the wheel. But yeah, definitely the student stories are a major piece of advocacy. So if you're alumni or know of somebody that was an alumni, or see, have some TRIO story to share, reach out. We try and do our best to reach out to people, but at the end of the day, that's not the core part of our jobs that we need to focus on. So we can send you the link. You just fill out the form, and we'll keep it going from there.
On the podcast sessions, I like to do a parting words of wisdom at the very end of an episode. And this is where we are. We're toward the end now. What are your parting words of wisdom, either to students or to anybody listening?
That's a good one.
I like that question. I like that
one.
question.
Dream big.
Dream big. I love
Dream
that.
big.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I think for me it would be like, don't forget what we do this for. Like at the end of the day, we are there for the students. Those little moments of success, those small victories, the big victories. Like at the end of the day, we're there for the students and supporting them in what their goals are. And I think it's easy to get sidetracked on all this extra stuff, all the state stuff, all the regional stuff, all the national stuff. Don't lose track of what you're doing it for. And keep in touch with the students. At the end of the day, they're the most important aspect.
I like that. Dream big and remember your why. I love it.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you both so much for being on the pod.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Are you seeking guidance to enhance your TRIO project's effectiveness and success? Look no further. Nosotros Education Center, NEC, is here to empower your TRIO project with expert consulting services. NEC's mission is to promote the effectiveness and impact of TRIO programs. Since 2003, NEC has specialized in providing professional development and in-service staff trainings, allowable cost services, for TRIO projects across the country. The team at NEC, with over 60 years of combined TRIO experience, offers customized workshops and seminars for project staff, compliance assessments, external evaluations, working on and submitting APRs, database customization and training, developments of policies and procedures manuals, and project implementation or reorganization services. Additionally, NEC has secured over $774 million in federal funding with a 92% success rate through their live and on-demand proposal workshops, assistance with data collection and review, detailed technical reviews, and comprehensive proposal development services. Join the hundreds of colleges, agencies, and TRIO projects across the country who benefited from NEC's expertise. Nosotros Education Center, your partner in TRIO's project success. Visit their website at nosotros.edu.org. Again, that's nosotrosedu.org.
And now, back to the podcast. I have the staff members from the Educational Talent Search Program from Boise State with me right now. If you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick.
Yeah, my name is Anthony Sanchez. I'm an educational specialist. The high schools I go to are Bora and Capital inside Boise.
My name is Christian Adamson. I'm an educational specialist as well at Boise State, and the schools that I serve are Skyview High School and Valley View High School.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for being on this podcast session. I know it's going to be a really quick 10-minute session because you got another thing to get to, so we'll make this quick. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about your journey into TRIO? How did that happen for you?
Well, for me, my wife, she was in TRIO in high school.
Wow.
And so I used to be a librarian, and I was kind of getting stuck kind of in there. I really connected with the kids that would come over to the library. So my wife actually said, "Hey, there's a job opening. You'd fit perfect for it." And I had never heard of it, and so I started looking into it. And I thought, yeah, this would definitely be good for me. Mentorship is kind of the big thing that brought me to it.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I actually got to know TRIO through one of the schools that I worked at when I started my journey in education. It wasn't ever a plan for me to get into education. I got my degree in athletic training, but I got a job at Valley View High School working as a state college and career advisor, and was coaching the boys soccer team there for 8 years. But the director of the program visited the school pretty often, and so I was pretty familiar with the TRIO program and what they did, and really loved it. And so there was an opening, and she, through our relationship, she asked me if I'd want to serve in that role, and so we always joke around and say that she stole me from Valley View, but it's awesome now though. because I get to serve there still and work with those students.
I like how Journey's always, either folks end up working in TRIO, they somehow find their way in it, and they end up falling in love with it. What do you all enjoy most about your position in TRIO?
It is the mentorship. I think back of when I was in high school, like your story, because the story you told earlier it connected with me quite a bit. I just wanted to get by, just get out of high school, get by, but nobody ever reached out. Nobody ever pulled me up. When I visited my counselor, he said, "Join the military." That's what he told me.
Right.
And so I didn't know that there was another way. And so, when I do talk to students, I like to show them that there's other ways. That there is other ways to go about what you're really interested in. So seeing that light bulb light above their head is definitely kind of an inspiration to keep going.
So what really inspired me to get into TRIO, and what I really love about it is kind of the same thing that Anthony said. It's being able to mentor students, and just understanding like the students that we work with. A little bit backstory though for me. I didn't have, I want to get back to the students in a way that I didn't have that resource. I didn't have somebody. My parents, didn't have the experience to tell me what to do or to kind of guide me through the college process. So, having to kind of fumble through it myself, I want to be able to give, it's nice to be able to give that back to students and guide them through that process that I wish I would have had, and help them in ways that I wish I would have had to help, back when I was in high school. But I think I've been in TRIO, I've been in education long enough now. It's cool to see, students that I run into and, how much they appreciate the help, whether it was when I was a college and career advisor, TRIO alumni, and that's really special, and I think that really makes it worth it. That really helps to, reflect on, the impact that we have.
Absolutely. Before I move on to the advocacy question, I really wanted to ask you both. So we're at the Idaho Association of TRIO Professionals Conference. These are TRIO programs from all over the state. What is something that you're learning now that you'll carry with you at the end of today?
The amount of bureaucracy that's involved, I just go to a high school, I'm sitting with a student, but the level of bureaucracy to just get me to do that is kind of, it's bothersome. But I understand the importance of it. But, the listening to the bureaucracy as we're here kind of really opens my eyes up saying, be a part of the process or get left behind.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the question?
It's what are you learning so far in this conference?
Yeah, so I think it's cool mostly just to connect with other people who are in this in the TRIO-verse and
absolutely
who are doing the same kind of work, and then to kind of share different skill sets and different ways that we go about things. Everyone, we all have the same end goal with helping and supporting students. But we all have our kind of own unique way of going about it. So that's what I think is really important about these conferences.
Two quick questions before I let you guys go. The first one is, how can communities continue advocating for TRIO programs?
Well, learning about them. A lot of times I meet parents that they say, I didn't even know this was a part of it.
Oh, yeah, I still get that a lot.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is in getting our outreach out there and having the community buy in. I mean, that's our bread and butter. That's our lifeblood. Is that a lot of times had my parents would have known about TRIO, I think they would have gotten me into it because they never went to college, they didn't know the process. So when they said, "Oh, he's going to the military," at least it was something. But I think they were very proud once I did end up going to college. So I think getting the community aware of it is part of it.
Okay.
So I kind of see it as a twofold thing. It's connecting with alumni who've been through the program, but also making sure that we're just intentional about how we're serving students and building really good relationships and having a great culture at the schools. And because when we build those skills and help the students to acquire those skills, they will remember the people that helped them along the way, and we might not be the only, we won't be the only ones to support them, but just being intentional about those relationships that we build.
Wonderful. Last question. Parting words of wisdom to our audience, whether they're TRIO professionals or TRIO students. What would you say to them?
Be humble and listen to the people that have gone through it before you. They can impart you some really good information. I think when I was a kid, I think I knew it all. And now I think back on it and say, man, you know, my dad, that bald old guy, he knew what he was talking about. So I think listening to people that have already gone through it, and you don't necessarily have to go down their path, but you can definitely take a diversion a little bit down their path.
So I'll kind of tie this into the presentation that I'm actually going to have in the second session. And it's figuring out how you can lead in your current role, you know, as however big or small it is. You have the ability to influence people around you in whatever capacity that you're serving, or whether you're a student or, you know, whether your title says director. You know, finding ways to have a positive influence on the people that are around you, your family, your friends, and your community. So start there. It doesn't have to be too daunting. You know, you can lose track of things looking at the bigger picture, but start small and look at the, you know, ways that you can have an impact.
Awesome. Anthony, Christian, thank you so much for being on the podcast. And
Thank you, Juan.
yeah, we'll let you guys go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great.
I am here with a TRIO student, Giovanni, who is here you're attending Idaho State University, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Giovanni, tell us a little bit about you and your family. What brought you to Idaho State?
Yeah, so a little bit about my family. So I grew up in a little small town called St. Anthony, Idaho. Really small population. My graduation class was about 70 to 60 people. So a really small town. There's only one stoplight in the middle of the city. But,
wow.
Yeah, really small, really small.
Yeah.
But something about my family is that my parents are immigrants, so they came from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom's from Chihuahua, Mexico. And then my dad's from Sinaloa, Mexico. And so I'm a proud first-generation immigrant here from my family, so I really appreciate them. But what brought me to Idaho State University is a program called CAMP that helped a lot and also introduced me to TRIO. And so CAMP was a really big reason for why it brought me here, but also it was the community, especially here, where it provides a welcoming community.
Absolutely. And I felt that immediately coming into Idaho. It felt like it's a very welcoming community, very embraceful. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey discovering TRIO? Like, how did you find out about it?
Yeah. So like how I said, I joined this program called CAMP. It's another federal program that helps migrant workers, their families. And so I got into there, but CAMP actually was a place where they connected me to TRIO, and they actually introduced me, and I actually got a job with TRIO as a front desk staff member.
Congratulations.
And so thank you. It was really fun, and I still enjoy it. I'm currently one, so it's been my third year with them, but I got introduced to TRIO because we're facilitated in the same office.
Yeah.
And so I've been talking to a lot of TRIO advisors, just TRIO professionals, and that's how I got introduced to TRIO more, and so connected with all the programs. So now I work with EOC, work with McNair that we had here, and then ETS and all that. So it's amazing. So that's how I got introduced to TRIO, by TRIO professionals surrounding me, and also by my camp mentors from that program.
That's awesome. What are you currently studying, and what do you hope to be after you graduate?
Yeah, so I currently study in secondary education, so I'm double majoring, so it's secondary education. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
We're getting it, we're enjoying it. We're enjoying it.
You're enjoying the ride.
We're enjoying the ride. So it's secondary education in history, and then I have an endorsement in government. So that's what I'm currently studying. I'm really enjoying it because I always wanted to become a teacher growing up. Before I wanted to become an astronaut, but then I got on a Ferris ride that was going really fast in circles.
Oh no!
Yeah. And
I'm so sorry.
And I realized I could not stand the G-force, so I moved on to my second option, which was still first option because I still wanted to teach somewhere around there. And so then I was like, okay, what I want to teach, and like I want to teach history. I believe it's really important, and also government, where it expands on what's important and how do people to show that community that it's really great to understand how governments work and how you can make an impact or how can you advocate for people.
Absolutely. There's something empowering learning about government and learning that you're not just a sideline person just kind of letting things happen. Like, you have a voice in government, right?
Yeah, yes, and that's a great thing. Like, it's an amazing thing. That's why I kind of was driven to it. And I'm also like president of a student club here on campus that's called LED, and it's abbreviation for Los Estudiantes Después, which means the students after.
Yeah.
And we basically focus on activism, leadership skills, and politics, and community outreach stuff. So we do a lot of things out here and inform people about politics. How can they be active on campus, but also how can they help their communities? And we build a sense of community. So an example of this, like literally we talked about how migrant workers have helped the society around our hometowns, and so we're like, okay, we really think for them. How can we help them? So then we basically made a fundraiser, sell aguas frescas, so horchata, pineapple water Mexican drinks.
Delicious.
It was super delicious. My mom's recipe, so straight from Chihuahua.
Nice.
But we sold those, and all the money that we got, we used to make tortas, so Mexican sandwiches and chips.
You're making me hungry now.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. But we literally went out to our neighboring towns because it was during potato season, so they're picking up the fields and everything. So it was around September, and we went to go give them out food, and we fed about 80 farm workers, migrant workers. And we also gave them a little bit, knows like how our club is based a lot on politics. We're like, okay, how can we also inform about it? So we give them know your rights cards and show them and express them like, hey, these are rights that everybody has, no matter where you're at. And so it's like kind of that aspect, and we appreciated them. And it was super amazing because we had a lot of workers there that were saying like, we never seen people do this for us, and we always hear about people advocating out there, but they don't come to meet us.
Wow, like the actual face-to-face advocacy.
That grassroots, like down connection. So it's kind of like, that's why I believe I wanted to study government, because it's like I feel like I can build that gap between that and make it more of a reality and say that voice how you say it. So it's like solidify.
That's magnificent.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your journey in Trio. What have you enjoyed most about it? How has Trio helped you in your journey?
Yeah. Trio has helped me a bunch.
Oh, yeah?
It's amazing, like, because I work with them, but also the aspect of not even working for them, the community is amazing. So when I started joining Trio, my advisor was Reinalyn, OG Reinalyn. She's done this podcast before, so she's amazing.
Yeah.
If Reinalyn's listening to this, thank you, Reinalyn. She's an amazing person, but with the community aspect, like not even me working, she would always, like in that space of Trio, she would always check up on me and provide that other extension. Because sometimes as college students, especially being first generation, it was different from being home. So I'm only an hour and 20 minutes away from home, but I'm not visiting home like every semester because I'm constantly busy and working on a double major, and then also club president and so it's like all that stuff. But she provided a space for me to feel like I was seen, and I felt like I was a family and a community there. So Trios helped me really big time, feeling like I'm seen and heard, but also say like I'm seen and heard, but what can we do as a person to grow? Yeah. And so she provided that space for me because I'm a person that loves to do a lot of things for other people, but I realize I do not take time for myself. So Reinalyn's really great providing the space of like, okay, why are we doing certain things? Do you feel burnt out? She asks those questions that other people wouldn't usually ask. And so then she provided that space for me to feel seen and heard. That's awesome. And so the Trio community have helped me navigate into that spot and say, okay, what can I do to direct this? Or they directed me to people, they're professionals, to say like, okay, this is what we can do. And then they also expanded me to connections with professionals to grow in my career and to say like, how can I do this? Because beforehand, I didn't know that I could do reach out to my professor even more hands-on, because I was thinking of like, oh, well, it's just like regular stuff. And I'm a person who likes to communicate. And so then she connected me with people, and just Trio in general connected me with professionals that would help me grow instead of just staying like the base level. They put me in this place where I usually didn't even know what to do, because before high school, I thought to get into college was basically I would walk in just like in high school like that. But Trio and camp and all those people basically beforehand, even being before the college, they prepared me and said like, here, you can do these steps, and this is how you get in college. So it helped me so much that it was like, okay, it's not just like academic perspective, but also in a community aspect and a family aspect. So I always say Trio works, and that's a motto. Trio does work.
Yes,
and I'm like, it's still working in my life, because like constantly 24/7, I am surrounded by people that are trying to improve my career and my profession, but also improve me as a person, to say like, what can we do to expand and to just enjoy, and how can we be better people in society?
Absolutely. Earlier you said a word that really struck with me, and I think Trio was the first one to coin it, It's first generation.
Yes.
What does first generation mean to you?
Yeah, first generation means to me is a person that has that grit to stand out and to follow their dreams. And it can be first generation, just like not even the college aspect, but just like first generation in your life. And so being like that pioneer, I told my friend, like, sometimes you have to be a pioneer of something and other people can enjoy that settlement. And so it's like pioneer in that way. And so it means for me to be first generation, and the definition of first generation is to be of that grit mentality and saying, I'm gonna go do something because it's my desire, and I want to settle in a land where I can enjoy it, not in colonization way, but
oh, absolutely.
No.
Like in terms of thinking of your future generations, for them to benefit of.
Exactly.
Right? The hard work that you're doing now.
Yeah, pioneer that dream and that goal.
Absolutely.
And so then it's saying, like, I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I'm doing it because I want to do it. And if that settles, and that makes for my future people or my future generations to enjoy something that I've done and understand, it's not even maybe not financially, but it can be character-wise, because they say, like, hey, my grandfather or my uncle or something, whatever, and did this because they wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. It's not because everybody else was telling them. It's because they had the desire to pioneer that way for their life. And so then I want to replicate that grit. And so that's what it means for me to be first generation. It's that grit and that desire to expand and to know that I'm going to do something because I desire it, and it's my dream.
I like that. I like how you really define what first generation means in this context.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. You were talking about advocacy earlier through the work that you're doing through the student group. And I was wondering, for folks that are outside of TRIO, or maybe know a little bit about TRIO, how can they advocate for these programs right now that they're facing a little bit of volatility?
A really great aspect of advocating for programs such as this is by actually like making your voice known. And we say in our club, we really say that there's levels of advocacy, so it's really great to stay informed. So we always do like level 1 to level 4. Level 1 can be like staying informed of what's happening. How can you do it? Can you write petitions? Can you do this, X, Y, and Z? Inform people, or stay informed so you can inform others. And then the other ones can be like level 2 would be like, okay, how can we do this? Should I reach out to a senator? How can I do this? Advocate for that. Also show, present yourself to your community and express it to other people. It's like, hey, TRIO's done this for me. It's a great way for the podcast.
Oh, absolutely, right?
That's another form of advocacy, because people understand that, because some people put the perspective of like maybe currently in society where like government-wise, where it says like it's really easy to dismiss something when we don't put a face to it. Yeah. And so it becomes more of a human aspect. And so when we put that face into it, it's like hearing it. So doing a podcast like this, people hear that TRIO is not just a program, but it's part of a people, it's a community. A program can be filled and everything, but what makes a program is the people. And so then, and the action that they do. So it's like, it's really great to have it on paper, but when you hear that voice, can you hear that people, it's advocating through that aspect and having people's voices heard. And so it's a really great thing. And then other people can do in the community wise and outside of the TRIO's perspective is to understand that, to really get to know what the program is and what it does, so that they can explain it to other people and to provide that and to put scenarios. And so it's really great. Even like our club really likes to host things of presenting people like, oh, this is part of the migrant community, this is part of the Latin community, this is part of the LGBT community. And so it's really great to put the people in the face. And I think as an outside community, it's really great. But another aspect can be also is that calling for senators, calling for representatives, and sharing your stories or explaining what it means to do this. Because like when people make it a human aspect and put it into a persona, then that makes it more real instead of just we're taking certain things away because it's not helping people.
Oh yeah, I like that you say humanize the community, humanize it to make sure that people are grounded in it and they know, right, that it's not just taking money away. This is who you're impacting, the community that you're impacting. That's awesome. Yeah. What is some advice that you have for TRIO professionals or TRIO students in the program? Yeah,
I would say for TRIO students in the program is always reach out to your advisor if you have any questions. They're really awesome with connecting, but also they're not just like information like academically, but life in general, because they're really connected with the community in the sense like Reinalyn's awesome. Another advisor that I really admire from Idaho State University is Maurice. Maurice Pittman.
I love Maurice.
Maurice is, if you don't know Maurice, then you're going to meet him.
I heard he's like the mayor of ISU.
Yeah, he's the mayor of ISU. James Pascali says that, and he puts that title over him. And James is awesome too. But
James is great.
Yeah, I love James. I love Kirsty. I'll shout out to them. Also, like Sarah, like the one who facilitated everything, and then just people around here. But they're really great on sharing advice of like live or where to get help from, like financially, if you need to find, like they connect you to other programs in the community that can help with it, with rent, with electricity. And here in Idaho, it's like Community Council of Idaho. They help with that. They direct you with like, oh, how can you apply for food stamps, all that stuff, and also like resolve everything. And then for just in general, for trio professionals or trio students, it's really great to connect with. Big thing that we talk about is networking. Really awesome thing, because I view networking as an aspect of not just it's not a sense of benefit. I think it's a great thing to get to know the person, because that will help you expand who you are and to know your character and to solidify what you want to be. And so when you network with people, it provides you a space to understand and grow. And so I feel like for trio professionals and students, it's really great to network, not in the sense of benefit for just for one's gain, but to benefit for who you are as a person and character, so that it can help you develop in what you want to be. So it becomes more of it doesn't become more of like a task. It becomes more of an analysis and a desire to grow as a person, instead of just something that I'll check off my checklist so I can maybe secure a job. It's like, if I don't get a job, it's okay. I'm growing as a person, so I can become what I want to be, and to secure at the end of the day, I'm happy who I am, and I'm still growing for that growth mentality, instead of saying like, hey, it's always going to end here. And I think just for students, like I haven't graduated yet, but I'm soon. I have 2 or 1 year and a half, depending on how much credits, because it's double majoring. All around,
that's more work.
Yeah, it's much more work, but I'm enjoying it. But it's like to say that aspect of like, hey, even though I might not get something off the bat, like James Pascali and Kirsty Beck and Maurice Pittman and Reinalyn and Erica and all those people that and Janae and the people that work in my office, and also I got to shout out them all, Maggie, and then also Mallory, just all them that work there. They share with me like, hey, you might sometimes as professionals we think of like, once we get our degree that we'll get the job, and it's like, and sometimes it gets high hopes, but it's like, hey, they might hire other people because you have they might have more experience or something, but don't let that stop you from growing, and to know how can we grow from that, how can we analyze, why can we do certain things, why have not. And so having that growth mentality, and to say that what I'm going to get and what I'm going to go for, it might take some time, but we're going to get there because we're desiring it. It's not because of the line is because there's one's failure doesn't define your whole life. It's not a failure. It's actually to see it as a perspective of saying like, this is a step for me to grow and to build myself up.
Oh, I love that. Wonderful. Yeah. Before I let you go, final question.
Yes.
What is like a motto, a quote, or maybe even like words of wisdom that you live by?
Yeah. I live by a quote, some quotes that I say to myself. Yeah. Is because like my parents say it to me always.
Ponte las pilas, no.
Ponte las pilas, yeah. No, for real. Literally, my dad texted me that today. That's awesome. I'm like, I'm behind on homework. It's like, ponte las pilas. Ponte las pilas. Yeah. But my mom always says, I don't know why. It's such a simple thing, but it's like, she's like, my parents always say it. And I always imagine my mom's voice, but my dad next to her. And saying like, and he says like, it's like, mijo, aquí estamos por ti. That's it. Wow. And that touches my heart because like how I said beforehand, I care about so much people around me and doing all these stuff, but then realizing that my parents are there for me, not in the aspect of just caring, or like not in the aspect of just saying like I'm here. It's an aspect where I feel like nurtured, I feel cared for, and I feel like when it says we're here for you, that puts like a mirror for me to say like I'm cared for, and it reflects on me to say like I can never give up on myself. Yeah. And so it's that aspect of just when I always hear the word just mijo, aquí estamos, or just mijo, that touches my heart because it's like it's something like a son, basically like those who don't speak Spanish says like where it says mijo aquí estoy por ti means like son, I'm here for you, and that just hearing the word son makes it more it makes me so real. It makes it so real that I'm saying like I'm a part of somebody that cares for me and that has always had that dream for me, and to say that they care for me and I should care for myself. And so realizing that I have a security of a family with me, but are just like community, and even not by blood. It's just like people that say like, and the aspect of what it means to be a son, to nurture, to care for, to oversight, or to grow up, and how that process of life to become, or be like a little seed to grow up into a big tree. And so it's kind of like that aspect of saying like, it brings more of a reality, and it urges me down to say, when I forget some things, I just hear my parents' voice saying, mijo, aquí estamos, or aquí estamos por ti. And that just helps me realize that I'm here, and to reflect, and it puts a mirror on my face and saying like, okay, they're here for me, now I gotta be here for me. And to say like, I'm doing this for me, or I want to become this person because of me. And another quote is like, for me, that my parents always say, un día a la vez, what means one day at a time, but also never give up on yourself. And that's always that thing that solidifies for me, because it just becomes more of a reality, and it becomes more of a thing where it says like, we're always taking care of people around us, but it's also really important to take care about yourself, and it's amazing. So that's 3 of the quotes that I live by mijo, estamos por aquí, like estamos aquí por ti, and then also saying like, never give up on yourself, and then the other one, I forgot the last one that I was just saying, but just those solidify. Those are 3 quotes that I really solidify, because it becomes more of reality to me instead of something that just a quote becomes something more real.
Wonderful. Giovanni, student at Idaho State University and TRIO student as well.
Yes.
So sound thankful that you were on the podcast to share a little bit about your journey. We'd love to follow up again, just to kind of do a feature story about you. That would be wonderful.
Yes, I would love that. My goal in the future, a lot of TRIO staff here, and then TRIO staff from Twin Falls, because I work sometimes for ETS. They're like, hey, in the future we want you to become a TRIO professional, and so I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
So maybe in the future, the follow up in the future, you might see him as a TRIO staff full time.
I look forward to it.
So hopefully, we're hoping, but in the future. So if future viewers listening, you got this.
Wonderful. Giovanni, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much.
I am sitting here with Irma from Idaho State University's TRIO Educational Talent Search Program. Irma, we were talking before I hit the record button, and we were kind of already rolling on a discussion. It felt like we were just having this great discussion about non-traditional paths for students, but also students who are trying to shape not only themselves, but also influence their families. And we were on a great conversation about that. So I was like, let's pause. Let's hit record, because this is a great conversation. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do and kind of your philosophy around TRIO and what it's meant to do?
Yeah. So with my TRIO prior advisor, he always treated us almost like family. So not only did he help me out, but he also had like an influence on my family when it came to like, especially since like you could be the first female from a first generation to like move 8 hours away from home. And that's a big hit for some parents. So having that conversation and having him ease my parents into those things with programs that he knew about that can also help them ease like that situation of transitioning from high school to college, really helped out. And so I just took his message for Luis Carrillo. I took his message and I do it now. So I believe as TRIO advisors, we are basically like their hub of information, as well as their support within family and their student.
Yeah.
And we're able to bridge that kind of concerns that they have with different programs, because we're so knowledgeable about different programs. We can go ahead and connect them to somebody that will care for their child as much as like they care for their child.
Absolutely.
So, because we know people who are very passionate just seeing these kids thrive. Not necessarily like seeing them struggle, but seeing them thrive in the potential they want to.
Absolutely.
And so that's when I was talking to students that, you know, how many of us have ever been told, like, what are we going to do right after high school? And what does it look like when you change your path? Because I was talking to a few high school students where, you know, if you go to a degree, you have to stick to that degree, because if you don't, there's a shame that comes from that,
Yeah.
especially from parents, because they're like, didn't you start here? Like, you lost, you know, $2,000 or $145 for that one semester.
Yeah.
And I felt that because I did that, and I felt that everybody was telling me, like, you can't switch your degree, and I was just like, but I wasn't happy there. Like, I didn't have a lot of informations or sessions where they could tell you, like, you know, you can follow this pathway instead of this one. You just kind of followed whatever you saw. So, like, my uncle went into sociology, and I was like, I think I could do sociology. Found out I hated sociology with, like, the life of me. So that's when I went into general studies, and they started to do all these assessments. And then I was like, okay, maybe my brain has a different function, and it did. It had logical function, so I graduated with business.
Wow.
But nobody in my family ever did business. My brother
yeah.
did computer science, and so we were very, very different.
Different folks, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
but you kind of just assume you have the same just because you're a family, and you assume
Right.
that's the same pathway you need to take, but it's not necessarily the right pathway.
Yeah. You hear a team of lawyers or family of lawyers,
Yes.
family of doctors, family of this, but rarely do you hear like family often splits when it comes to what sort of field you want to be in.
Yeah, or like if you are like me, where you grow up with parents that always say like, you have to be a lawyer because they make the big bucks,
yeah.
right? Business, right?
Right,
You
that's
have
right,
to
that's
do
right.
whatever it is to take so much money or get so much money, because that's based on the successful of what you do.
Yeah.
But not necessarily on the value or the worth that you are. But they found it to those just 5 or 6 majors, and you're just like, how do I make it to this thing? Or how do I be a doctor or a nurse?
Right.
When, like, you can't even see the sight of blood, and you're just like, right? So those are the things that we kind of, like, want to have parents acknowledge the fact that not every student is the same. Because that's one of the things that I found out. Some parents, without us knowing, they compare students. Like, if somebody is really well in taking exams, they're like, you're college bound. But if somebody is not, they always say, you're not college bound. And then you have parents and siblings that say, you know, like, he's going to college, but I have to, like, work. And I said, but work in what? Like, we could still do certificates. Like, there's more than just, like, gonna go out in the work field. If that's what you want to do, great. But if not, like, there is other pathways as well that we can view.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I really like the point that you drove home about being able to identify pathways, because often they're sometimes non-traditional, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be not normal ways that you find what you want to do.
Yeah.
For you, how did that happen?
So finding the non-traditional pathways.
Yeah.
So like with students that I have students that have just thought of one way for a long time, and then something happens in their life, right? Something unexpected that either they have to help support family, or basically they're graduating and the expectation is that they're gonna stay there locally to help out the family, which then they sacrifice their education, but they do it somewhere close to home, thinking that that's gonna benefit them. However, like, you can see the negative impact. So sometimes we tell parents, okay, just because they're closer to home doesn't make her the babysitter, doesn't make her like the runaround in the family, because the credits that they take, it's more than just studying those 3 hours or 2 hours in the school. It's also studying 6 hours beyond that, or 8.
Yeah, taking that.
And so, or doing those projects where you have to like develop those projects. They might not look like they're doing anything, but they are doing much deeper sense than what it looks like, especially like our welding departments. When you talk about like internships, how many hours they have to do, cosmetology, all of those things, you just get it on the background, but parents have no idea. Because I had one student who was taking 18 to 20 credits. Mom came up to me and she's like, she's always on the computer, like, I don't even think she's doing anything, like, how are her grades? But then I told her, okay, think about it. It's like she's taking 20 credits, so she's doing this many hours of studying plus this many work afterwards. And she's like, oh, but she's doing a job. Like, that's too much for her. And I said, yeah, she's probably stressed. And so, like, we have to, like, make sure that her health is correctly, like, that she's managing herself in a healthy way. And Mom didn't understand that, because kids as first generation, I don't think we speak to our parents that way. Like, we keep a lot of our stuff to ourselves to not worry our parents, But at the same time, that kind of could affect you in a negatively way when they tell you to do things and you're just like, do I even have time with like your schedule and stuff?
Yeah.
And so those are the things that we talk to parents about, having that open communication with your child and being like, okay, let's compromise on a way that works for you and works for me when we live closer to home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up this podcast
Yes.
session, what are some things that you would advise parents to do? Like, what's like a major piece of advice you would give to parents or to students?
I would say if I have to give advice to any parent or student is to always be open-minded on the fact of what they want to do. Because there are some pathways that some people may not agree with. I had one student that wanted to do welding. Parents didn't agree on the fact to do welding since she was a girl. However, it's like I told her, she can weld, and then she can also use that as therapy afterwards to like do that to education-wise. She doesn't always have to stay in the same field doing the same hard work if she doesn't choose to. There's different pathways to take your art and do what you love for a little bit and then kind of change it up. We're never on a solid pathway, I guess.
That's so true. It's,
Yeah.
I like how you're ending that with, we're always evolving. There's
Yes.
always an evolution to our career paths. Before we end, what is a motto, quote, or thing, a saying that you live by?
I live by saying that we have families, but we also make our own families. We don't have to be connected by blood, but we can be connected by different pathways, different kind of mindsets. So you could always make your family however you want to compose it. Yeah.
Irma, thank you so much for being on
Thank
the pod.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. You did great. That was fantastic. I am here with Sarah, a student at Idaho State University, majoring in nursing, who is about to graduate. Congratulations, by the way, on your near graduation. How excited are you to be nearly done with not only the program itself, but yeah, you're almost done.
I am very excited.
Yeah?
I'm very ready to be done.
It's been, what, 4 years for you? Like, yeah, what was that journey like for you?
I would say it was long.
Yeah?
Definitely hard.
It sounds like a lot of classes. Did you take some summers off, or did you go full year? Like you went fall, spring, summer?
We have the summers off,
Right
but
on.
I did like Bengal Bridge right after high school.
Oh, okay,
so-
cool. Awesome. What has that taught you, doing Bengal Bridge and into Idaho State University? What did you learn about yourself?
I guess I learned I'm a very organized person,
Mhm.
and I like to keep things like on a tight schedule, like time management skills. I feel like doing Bengal Bridge definitely taught me how to do time management skills better, because in college there's a lot of like assignments and stuff that you have to do and like tests you have to study for.
Absolutely. How did you find out about Trio?
So actually my best friend like introduced Trio to me in
Really?
high school. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm from Pocatello,
Okay.
Idaho, and I went to Century High School, and I got introduced like I think my junior year of high school,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I got into Trio, just like the Upward Bound program.
So through Trio Upward Bound, did you join the Student Support Services program up here in ISU?
Yeah.
Right on. How did that happen for you? How did you learn about them, or did they kind of just do a nice warm handoff of like, yep, here's another Trio program?
I actually learned about them because I wasn't part of like Trio SSS my freshman year of college, but then I got introduced like my sophomore year, and that's how I got in. So.
How has Trio helped you so far in your journey? I know you're almost ending and it's almost done, but how has Trio helped you?
Oh goodness, I feel like Trio has helped me like immensely because I come from like a limited financial family where we don't really have like money to spend on college or anything like that. Like we're on a super tight budget, and so for all of college, all of the money has been through scholarships.
Wow.
And so I feel like Trio has helped me like get scholarships, find scholarships, and then just be supportive in like my journey throughout college.
Right on. So you're almost done with this nursing degree. What are you hoping to do after you graduate?
I'm hoping to be like an ICU nurse or like a trauma ER nurse.
Okay, what inspired that? That's intense, it sounds like to me.
So we have clinicals in our nursing program.
Mm-hmm.
And so for my capstone this semester, I was in the ICU, and I just really love caring for critically care patients.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
because on ICU, that's intensive care, right? Like either folks are really, really hurt, they can't talk much, and you're saying like, oh, that's an area I really like. That's where you want to care for folks. That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it's very intimidating at first.
I'm already
Just
intimidated.
It's like so critical. Like a lot of patients are on like ventilators and stuff like that. But I really like high intensity like situations. Like there's always like code blues being called on the ICU.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like to me that you handled pressure pretty well.
I feel like in nursing I do. Maybe not in like actual life.
You're like professionally, yes.
Yeah, professionally, yeah.
Personally, something else. Tell us a little bit more about your college journey. Like, how did you end up in the nursing program? Was that something that you immediately identified and you wanted to be in it? Or was that something that kind of came later as you were exploring other programs? Yeah, how did that happen?
So like growing up, I've always wanted to work in the healthcare field. It wasn't until like high school that I decided between, at first I was thinking like physical therapy, but then I decided nursing just because I really want to help care for people in their sickest times and everything. I feel like, personally, I feel like I'm a pretty compassionate person. Like I try to be open and like non-judgmental and accepting of everyone. And I just love helping people.
That's awesome. So it sounds like immediately coming in, that was a program that you immediately identified with, and you're like, I really want to help people. That's awesome. Yeah. What advice do you have for TRIO students that are probably listening to this podcast?
Oh, I would say, I guess, just enjoy TRIO. Like, your advisors are always there for you. Like, TRIO's a welcoming space. If you need help, don't be afraid to ask.
Awesome. That's great advice. What about for TRIO professionals, for folks that are in the TRIO programs serving students? What do you have to say to TRIO professionals?
Oh, I would probably just like say thank you.
Yeah. Are there any TRIO professionals that come to mind for you?
Oh, my advisor has been amazing and has supported me throughout all of college. And I know I can always go and talk to him. Like, even if it's not about school, I can just go and talk to him and he'll listen and give me advice.
That's awesome. Before we end this podcast session, I want to ask you one last question. What is a motto, quote, or words of wisdom that you live by? Sorry, now I'm putting you on the spot a little bit.
No, you're good. Honestly, I feel like one of my life mottos is just be kind to everyone, because you never know what someone's going through.
Yeah. I think it's very important that kindness goes a long way, right? And that it, like you said, you don't know what the other person is going through, so being kind goes a long way. Awesome.
If there's anything that Idaho Trio does well, it's really show up.
Oh no, yeah, I've experienced it here already.
And it's not just ISU. It's like Idaho.
All over. Boise State. U of I. Everybody's
we all like.
Whoa.
Someone says something like, "Hey, someone is doing a thing we're super interested in at least like a couple people showing up, then like everybody shows up, right? Like the volunteer experience, like we're like, I heard the call, and then we all like roll up like Rohan to Condor's aid.
I love the reference too.
Welcome to Idaho Trio,
Thank you.
man.
I appreciate that. Reinalyn, I'm sitting down with Reinalyn Echon, who everybody remembers you were on the podcast sharing your story.
The longest amount of time.
The longest podcast, and it was one of the most popular.
Yeah,
too.
which is surprising to me. What a great ego boost.
People love listening to your story. It was very engaging.
Yeah.
I re-listened to your episode not too long ago, and I was just like, man, it was such a great episode. So, but you were the one first to suggest that I should come out here to Idaho.
Yes.
And then the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals also reached out and said, hey, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And then I'm here.
And then it worked out. And then like not only did you give what was an amazing speech, I heard.
Thank you. I appreciate
because I was unfortunately teaching. But like people loved it. And
thank you.
They loved your experience, and then it's been so great that so many people have been just either seeking you out to just chat with you, or even just like, hey,
Idaho.
I'll record on the podcast, not for the 2.5 hours that Reinalyn did, because that's too much. I don't have that many stories, but
I don't doubt that everybody here does.
Oh, they 100% do. Some of them are just not storytellers like me, Maurice, and James, who will never shut up. Like, we just have a good time.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so there's been a few people who have been like, don't worry, Juan is a great interviewer. He'll ask you a couple questions, and then you'll just start talking, and then it's just
really
like a coffee
like
chat.
No, yeah. It's been exactly
so
that. It's been exactly that.
Yeah.
So, Reinalyn, thank you so much. Again, you had me here. We saw each other in the parking lot, because I was like,
both of us. I know, both of us changed our hair since we last saw each other, and we were looking in the parking lot like, if that's not who I think it is, I'm going to be embarrassed. But luckily, I was like, hi.
I'm like, Reinalyn,
that's you. Because as I was saying, there's someone who vaguely looks like you.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be like, I am so sorry. I thought you were a completely different kid. I thought you were a completely different Hispanic guy.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's hilarious.
I just haven't seen him outside of a Zoom box.
Right. We haven't seen each other outside of
person.
Zoom. So what would that look like? Well, no, because you were on the tour at CSU.
Yes.
And that was the last time we really physically saw each other.
Yeah, exactly. But that was several years ago.
Yeah, that was several years ago. And that was when I promised, like, we'll get you on the podcast soon, Reinalyn.
We'll get you on the podcast soon, and then it was 3 years later. But this time soon happened a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we said it was going to be another 3 years.
No,
right? For an update.
I was expecting IATP's invitation 3 years from now.
Oh, no. When I have my mind on something, I'm going to keep pushing. So luckily it worked out, and our IATP board was super on board once I kind of gave the pitch of, like, you're a Trio alum, and you do this podcast, even though that you're no longer working for Trio. And it's such a great way to really keep up the passion for what we do in hard times, and really like go back to what's your why. And just hearing everyone's stories on your podcast is so cool, especially like recently a lot of like updates from students.
Oh yeah, the update episodes. Yeah,
but I love the update episodes. They're so good. which is also why I was like, do you want to record some updates with like me, James, and Maurice?
And this is what we're doing right now. Yeah. We're gonna do an update episode with Reinalyn. So a lot of things have changed since we connected. Here on campus. I want to let the audience hear from you.
Yeah.
What has changed since then?
So I'm unfortunately no longer working for Trio Student Support Services, but I'm now a clinical assistant professor with Bengal Bridge, which is actually inspired completely by our ISU Upward Bound summer program. So instead of just a summer for the high school students, it's the bridge between high school and college.
Yeah.
So the graduated high school students spend a 7-week summer with us, just connecting them to campus resources, making sure they actually understand like time management.
I like how you put the emphasis on time management.
Time management.
This is not going to be a 2.5-hour podcast, Reinalyn.
That's what you think. Dinner is in for a while. But like we also teach them like just like college 101, right?
Yeah.
How to understand your financial aid, how to find scholarships, here's how to network, here's how to talk to your professors, because it's different than high school where you don't necessarily have to say like Mr. or Mrs. whatever, right? Like, yes, it's a lot of formality, but it's a different kind. And the missteps of being a first-gen or low-income student when you don't know those rules, the quote-unquote hidden curriculum, as James and I are always talking about with faculty and students, of there's all of these small secret language things, right, in higher education, which is why programs like TRIO and Bengal Bridge exist, is to teach students who otherwise wouldn't know how to speak the same language.
Yeah. You bring up a good point, because there is, as you said, a hidden curriculum to this college process.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the mistakes that first generation students make is not connecting with the resources when they were supposed to.
Yeah, or like tutoring is just for the kids that don't actually know what's going on. It's like, no. Use that as like a tune-up. Like, you know how you should be changing your oil every 6 months, but you don't? You probably should.
So for the folks who don't know, you're supposed to change your oil.
You're supposed to change your oil. It's every 6 months or 10,000 miles, whichever comes first, right? So same thing with tutoring. It's like, did I get confused or do I not know what's happening? Like, we should, one of those things should be one of the points upon which I go seek out a tutor to just be like, hey, I have a specific question, which like tutors appreciate, instead of teach me the whole thing. I don't know what's happening. Right. Because I don't know where to start. Whereas if you come up with a question like, hey, this homework assignment, I got all the way up to here, but I don't know what to do now. Then the tutor has something to give you. Regardless of whatever your professor was actually teaching, right?
Absolutely.
So that's legitimately one of the things I teach, is like how to tutor. How to access tutoring.
I like that. So it's like a bridge into tutoring, or a bridge into using a resource. And having them be exposed to that. Because oftentimes, right, students in first generation groups will just hear, go to tutoring. Right.
Do this thing.
Right.
It's like, well,
very prescriptive.
Where is it?
Tell me where it is.
Tell me where
you're
to
telling
go.
me tutoring, where is it?
Right. And then like even from my own experience as an undergrad, right? Like, I was told that the student health center is free to students. And I knew what building it was. However, I don't know what the inside of that looked like. Like, if I rolled up and was like, hey, I have a weird problem and I don't know what it is. Right? Like, is this something I should be here for, or should I actually go to a doctor? Like,
is this a specialist?
Is this a specialist thing? Or like, what are the services available? Because I don't want to waste my time being like, hey, my elbow hurts and I don't know why. And then they're like, well, actually, you should have gone somewhere else. It's like, oh, damn it. I could have just started there.
Right.
Right?
I like to think as your position, and various TRIO folks as well, as a doctor who is examining you and can identify the issue and say, here's where you need to go. Right? And providing that guidance of where to be.
Right. And that's why this Bengal Bridge position doesn't feel really different to me from TRIO work, is that it is about, I am a point of contact. I am not here to solve your problems. I am here to help you connect to the things that you need to get help connected to. The only thing I am doing is maybe depending on like how freaked out you are or how uncertain you are, or, you know, you literally have no idea how to access certain things, instead of just telling you there's a web page for it, figure it out. I will either show it to you or, you know, hey, this first time I'll make the phone call with you and I'll coach you. Remember to have your student ID available so that financial aid can look up your account. Here's the questions you want to ask, right? Okay, did you write all of those down? And then you do the phone call, right? So just a little bit more guidance, but it's not hand-holding, right? Like, I'm not doing anything for the student.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it the way my father did it, which is to just throw me into situations and then just be like, why didn't you do that right? And it's, you know, like there is a middle ground.
Right.
Yeah. Now,
But college can be absolutely feel like that, right? Like somebody's just pushing you into the pool and saying,
where they're
swim
just like,
right.
yeah, where they're just like, go to tutoring.
Yeah.
Go to financial aid office. And it's like, well, my question is, am I getting money? Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, or like, where do I find the scholarships, right? Like, sometimes someone sends you to an office, and if you say, like, a different piece of jargon that person with specialized knowledge understands to be something entirely different, but you, a person who's just attempting to speak what is allegedly normal language, and did not realize that you had accidentally cued someone with specialized knowledge to think about it a different way than your basic question, which is, how do I get money for school?
Yeah.
Right? If you ask it in a certain way, it makes it sound like you're asking a completely different question of your financial aid officer, right?
Yeah.
Like they start leading you to different forms and this, that, and they've made assumptions about like, based off of your question, that's usually the question that cues like this form, right? And now you're in a special circumstance, and now I need this documentation, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
My question was like, do I have money for school?
Yeah.
And actually, did I pay my tuition? And then, like, if a student manages to clarify that, then they finally get sent to the right office, which is, oh, you don't want the financial aid office. You want the cashier's office.
Yeah.
And then you start over.
Yeah. And it feels like a waste of time.
Correct. Yeah. Which is when a student normally gives up, right?
Yes.
Like, this feels like a waste of time because I have to go and re-explain everything. And then the worst part is when they get sent to the same office again.
Oh, and it just kind of
loops
back.
They just keep they end up in a loop of confusing questions, and then if the only reason you know how to help the student is either because you're a TRIO person or an advisor or someone that they eventually reached out to outside of that loop who was like, I'm not getting any help and I don't understand what's happening. All I'm trying to do is this. And you're like, oh, okay. Let me explain to you what happened.
Yeah. Let me.
You accidentally cued them to believe you didn't have certain documentation or that you hadn't done your FAFSA yet, but actually you have. You just asked the question in a way that they didn't understand. Yeah. And so a lot of what I did in TRIO was just kind of like explaining that to students. Like they could handle the questions and resources themselves. They just didn't understand why they were getting shunted to different offices when they knew they just needed to talk to this person or this office for a question. And it's because they started asking their question in a way that made it sound like something else. Yeah. But once I explained, like, oh, so when you said this sounds like this thing, but if you had said it this way, try this language, this language of the hidden curriculum. And then they tried it, and then they actually got the answers that they were aiming for. Yeah. Right? And then they were like, oh, see, this is why I should go to you before I ever ask questions. And I'm like, well, maybe not every single time. But
you're doing that coaching, right? Of like
exactly
that they're supposed to empower themselves after a few coaching sessions on how to ask the question that they're needing.
Yeah. Right. And that's the nice part about Bridge is that I'm just starting right then and there. I'm just like, instead of we start when you're already frustrated, let's just talk about the hidden curriculum right now. When you talk to your financial aid officer about loans, And like, what does this mean? What does that mean? Like, here's some basic knowledge of terms so that you know what the Pell Grant is and what it's for and how much it's going to pay for things.
Yeah.
So that when you receive an email that's written in financial aid language, you're not hella confused.
Oh, yeah.
Because like,
'Cause
right,
you
it's a
don't- yeah.
specific language.
100%.
Where it
Absolutely.
sounds like they're taking things away from you and you're like,
Excuse me.
am I not in school anymore? And it's like, no, that's just like some standard boilerplate language that they just kind of send out to everybody. Like, you're good.
Yeah.
Just, you're in classes, right? Like, they're just letting you know that you have to stay in class.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. It's okay. You're good.
Yeah, because those emails can get intimidating.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Because it's
Where-
all like legal language.
Yeah.
And as a student, you wouldn't know what that means. You barely understand the difference between a FAFSA and a Pell Grant.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
Yeah. And that can
Yeah.
absolutely muddy up any student that's trying to make progress in their program.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing to worry about.
Or
is
even
like,
to like planning,
Oh
like
my
how
gosh,
much
yeah.
to work, right?
Yeah.
Do I need a part-time job?
Yes.
Like, you need to know these answers pretty quickly in that first year to actually be set up for success.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, as much as leaving Trio and Maurice.
He did talk about you,
yeah.
by the way. He did say
He's the best.
he misses you.
Oh,
So, yeah.
I miss him too. We just chatted right outside too while we were waiting for the students to go first. So yeah.
awesome.
So I mean, as much as that sucked, right? Like it hurts to leave a place that you really, really love and you believe in. But like, sometimes opportunities show up that allow you to do the same work and allow you to do it in a different way, and you see the need for it, and it was in my skill set that I had developed with Trio, and I went full in on the being a professor.
Wow.
Yeah, and also following Maurice, actually, I also over a weekend just decided to throw out an application for the educational leadership Ed.D program that Maurice is also in, and he's like about to finish. Like, I just started it. So I think when we had done the podcast, I had
left.
just thrown the application out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah, literally like a month and a half later, I got accepted into the program.
Congratulations.
And then I've been doing classes and really stretching my brain doing APA style again. And it's
How
like,
fun.
And like, dude,
Sorry.
it's
I don't
two
envy you.
manuals away from what I learned when I quit grad school. They've already had two different versions. I hate this. School is so hard.
We must like the torture that comes
Yeah.
with deadlines, or we really enjoy learning. It's one of the two.
It's one of the two. One of my favorite things is I had a buddy in grad school who stated, like, why do we do this to ourselves? And then their answer to my question was, it's because we don't love ourselves enough.
Are we seeking worth in books? Is that what we're doing?
I think we are. because not gonna lie, the amount of Trio people as well who are like, I'm going back to graduate school. So the first time around wasn't enough torment. I'm gonna do it again.
That has to be studied.
I know, it really does. Because I've had some students that, like, you know, they tried the grad school thing, didn't quite work out, and for the most part, they were just like, it's a mentor fit thing, or like, I just wasn't ready. And then they worked with us, some of them, and then they went back to graduate school. Like, that's why they're not in Trio anymore. They went back to graduate school.
Like, I need to fully devote this
to
time.
just like get fully developed now that they have the experience. They like the why is so much more clear to them after the work experience instead of like pushing through. So some of them worked great, and then others, they're just like, I'm locked in.
Yeah.
I'm locked in. I'm doing this one time, and then we're done.
Yes. Okay. So and that before I let you go on, because I'm grabbing onto they identified their why.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it back to you.
Yeah.
How did you identify your why in the EDD program?
Oh yeah, no. So interestingly, the EDD program, part of the application was write like a really short essay of something that you might want to research for your dissertation. And so I started talking about how one of the things that I noticed is that first-gen professionals, like, we made it through school, struggle bust our entire way through it. Hopefully we had some help, but a lot of us didn't, right? And then we became professionals, right? Like, eventually you finished school, whether or not school finished you or you finished it. And then you end up working. And the thing is, like, the purpose of programs like McNair and the maximizing access to research careers track, right? Like, all of these programs, through TRIO or not, it's all intended to get first-gen, low-income students that normally don't appear in higher education or like professional realms, to be in those spaces. However, just because you're opening the door and making it more open doesn't necessarily mean that everyone stays. Right? So part of why is, well, yeah, we had all of these training programs when you were a baby, a little baby professional, right? Like, sorry, that was the name of our newcomer session.
Baby professional?
I'm just a baby. That's what we called it unofficially.
Just a baby.
Yeah, that was the whole slide. Amanda Ferguson and I.
That's awesome.
We are so unserious. So we did a newcomer session that were just memes. But to go back to it, like, you get all of this training as a student, right? Because as a student, everyone's like, you don't know anything. But then just because you graduate with a degree, you have a piece of paper, suddenly you know stuff, regardless of the fact that you're first-gen low income, when the whole point was like, oh yeah, you don't know things and you actually know less things than most people. But now that you have a degree in hand, you're suddenly good.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
question mark?
Yeah, question mark? Like, profit? so, you know, like, there's not a lot of training opportunities for first-gen professionals. Like, all of those, like, stepping stones that help clarify the hidden curriculum, like, all of that disappears when you go into a profession. You're just expected to figure it out.
And you better hope that your employer has a little bit of training.
Something.
If not, they just kind of, feed you to the wolves.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. Here's the training pool. Not even a training pool. It's just a deep end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, here's the ocean. Like, swim.
Good luck.
There might be sharks. We're not sure. Don't go too deep. That's where the blobfish are. And, you know? And so, like, and then when you look at the research on leadership, everything about, like, how did this person become the university president? Like, how do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah.
All of the research says mentorship. So they're getting mentored by other leaders. And we don't see the same thing for first-gen low-income professionals.
That's interesting.
So there could be mentorship, and the people who do make it into like middle management or higher, they also point towards mentorship. And we also see that in the research, mentorship for first-gen low-income professionals, as well as like anyone of some sort of underrepresented status in their field, once they received mentorship, whether or not it was from another person of that population, mentorship itself was the protective factor that predicted their success into leadership.
Wow.
Those who didn't really get up to that level.
There was a ceiling.
Yeah, there's a ceiling effect.
Wow.
And so, like, that's my dissertation
That's amazing.
Is like, what if there is some way to create some sort of sponsorship program for higher education professionals so that we can kind of start creating a system that isn't predicated on if we just increase the numbers of first-gen low-income professionals and other students that generally struggle in higher ed, not just open the door, but show them how to walk through the door. And not just through the door, but through the next one and the next one. Like, we provide so much guidance to a student if they access the resources, right?
Absolutely.
But then once they graduate, we just kind of say bye, good luck.
Yeah.
Right? That's why the updates are so fascinating to me, is like, what did happen to them?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, did you do it? Did you do good?
Did you do good?
like it's fascinating to see what happens, especially after someone graduates. And like, there was even a session by one of my former students who became the assistant director of ETS here. Here at ISU. Yeah, she came back. She came back after going to graduate school and then became a professional and then became an assistant director. Like,
That's amazing.
Crazy.
Maurice was telling me earlier about seeing students that were once students and then
now
coming back
we
as
work with
professionals.
them.
Yeah. He's like,
and
that's
some
crazy.
of them are in leadership positions already, and we're like, wow, that is so cool to see. But she did a session, and she would be a great person to talk to as well, Mackenzie Kohler.
Okay. I think that she introduced me into the speaker.
Yes.
Okay.
She's the MC. She's the MC. That's right.
Yeah.
So Mackenzie's awesome, and so she's so new-ish to the realm, but she's already like co-chair of this conference, and
so cool.
She's like in charge of so much, and she loves Trio. And excuse me, probably
we'll edit that
out.
It wouldn't be a Reinalyn episode.
It really wouldn't be
if we couldn't edit something out.
But yeah, Mackenzie is literally doing a session right now on going from a trio or first gen student to becoming a professional. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
What are the skills that you're taking? And then
so
inspiring. Taking the things that you learned as a student and then applying those to your professional life. And I'm like, that's amazing. And in fact, like, girl, that's kind of what I'm trying to do, but like for the next step as a dissertation.
Grad level. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I wanted to do the educational doctorate. Like,
awesome.
My why is like, now that I've lived in this realm and I've been frustrated by like, kind of capped out on professional development opportunities as an advisor. What else can I do? Like, there has to be a way to fix the system, right? Like the whole reason.
Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no worries. We'll edit that out.
That'll be another edit.
Another edit. Your editor works hard.
And as we predict, this is going to be an hour and a half now. We've been talking for nearly
so long. And most of it is just us laughing.
I'm going to fade into us laughing into our conversation. That's what I'll do.
Like the little previews, just cackling. Oh, so good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
No. I mean, this is we're at the end of the day, man. This is just what's going to happen. But yeah, like, I mean, that's exactly where my thought process was for getting the doctorate. Is that like, originally I was going to get a doctorate in psychology because like, what else am I going to do with a psych degree? Mm-hmm. I don't want to do therapy. Ew. Yeah. Gross. But I liked research, and the only way to have a research career in psychology is to have a doctorate.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, I got to, because what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
Which is not a good why.
No. The agatu is more of it should be like buried within there, but not be the, right?
Yeah, it's like literally the only reason. It was that and vanity, right? Because I wanted to be called doctor. Legitimately, like there were no good reasons. Why torment myself for this? I could always just start calling myself doctor. No, who's gonna know? Just don't look at my resume.
Do what Dr. Phil did.
Yeah.
Just call himself Dr. Phil.
I could just change the documents to say that my first name is Doctor, right? Like,
Exactly.
it's not a lie.
Yeah.
But
Doctor without the period.
yeah, exactly. There's like a silent H.
Yes.
Doctor.
Doctor.
But I mean, like, now that I have this, like, okay, I really want education to be accessible to
Yes.
anybody.
Yeah.
And this is a long-term game. I'm not going to solve this with one bright idea. But it's going to take a team of people and really talking and negotiating with folks at different levels of the education system
Yes.
to really get people on board. And like the experience with TRIO, because the programs span like middle school through college and like pre-college adults, right? So adults who just were like, I didn't think this was for me in the beginning, but now that I'm older, like I want to go,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you have just a whole community of people who also believe the same thing, that education is for anybody.
Yes.
Anyone who wants to do something, right? It doesn't even have to be a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
It could just be like, I just want to get a certificate and just like
Absolutely.
have at
Yes.
it, right?
Yes.
Like
100%.
yes, you should be able to do that
Yes.
because you feel like it, right?
100%.
Like
yes.
You shouldn't have to have certain metrics of what success is. Like if you want some education, let's help you get it.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you have the drive and the means, and the only thing stopping you is you don't know what's happening, we can help you.
Let's defog that
get
process.
That.
Yes.
Let's get that
Yes.
problem out of the way. That not knowing
100%.
what is happening should never stop you from achieving an education.
100%.
No
Yes.
matter what,
Yes.
right? Like it is so frustrating whenever you run into someone in the community who says something like, yeah, I could have done that, but then this happened or this happened. It's like, oh no, even in the like 70s, the FAFSA was there.
Yeah.
Or like there was someone who could have answered those questions.
Yeah. And it's that realization of, right?
Yeah.
There's so much lost talent.
Exactly.
Yes.
There is lost potential in the people who say, I hit a roadblock and that's why I didn't do something, but I always wanted to do it. It's like, oh, you had everything, right? Means, motive, you just didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing that hurts the most. It's like, oh, you could have done it. You could have done it.
Yeah.
Like you're talented.
Absolutely.
And like, honestly, with education, as long as you really want to learn the thing that you're learning, you can make it through all sorts of things.
Oh,
like,
yeah, persistence
like,
is-
yeah,
yeah.
It's really like the biggest predictor of finishing is that you're motivated to learn.
Yes.
And like, that's for any class. Like, it can be absolutely ridiculous calculus, but if you're motivated, you can make it. You may not get an A+, but you'll pass.
Yeah, right.
Because even if it's by the skin of your teeth, what I say is like, I failed statistics as an undergrad, and then in grad school, I took the same class because I had to as part of the degree plan. And I was like, oh, is that what we were trying to do?
I like how it clicked for you.
Yeah,
like,
it's suddenly,
oh, that's what we're
suddenly all statistics clicked for me in graduate school.
Yeah.
When I heard it the 5th time.
Hey, sometimes that's all it takes.
Exactly. Where suddenly it's like, I finally understand what a regression is. It's just a slope.
Yeah.
It's prediction. It's like, that did not click for me in the like 3 different
Yeah.
undergrad statistics classes that I took.
Oh, gosh.
I had no clue what was happening. I just happened to kind of get the algebra correct enough times to get a B-.
Oh my gosh.
And then it did not save me. The last statistics class, I 100% failed it. I didn't know what was going on at all.
I think I'm speaking for both master's programs. The first one that I did had a statistics related course in there, and this one that I'm doing now, thankfully, it's saving my life. It's research and evaluation methods, but it's like, oh, you don't do any, like, you're doing a little bit of math, but not
Right.
like a ton. You're
Right.
You're relying on Excel to do the work. I'm like, okay,
Oh, thank
I
you.
can do that.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of my favorite thing about grad statistics is that,
Yeah.
like, I don't know why we do this to the undergrads, but
We're
we
tortured.
torment them with the math to understand the concept, which, like, I get it. Like, mathematicians, that's how you
100%.
understand it.
Yeah.
But for someone who isn't math-based, but you need to do statistics, you're like, but the computer does the math?
The computer can
Yeah.
do it.
And then in grad school, it's like, yeah. You need to kind of know the math to understand, like, why certain assumptions exist.
Agreed.
But also the computer's going to do the math for you. So, like, I just need you to understand the interpretation.
Right.
And, like, if you do this, you have to have made certain assumptions
Yeah.
before you can interpret your results correctly. And it's like, oh, suddenly everything clicks.
Makes sense. Like, I didn't appreciate research at all
Oh, yeah.
before.
Yeah.
This class that I'm taking now this semester, so our instructor's having us so we had to do a qualitative study on our own, like do manual coding of things that we were researching. So,
Oh, boy.
Oh yeah, that was intense. Oof. So fortunately, she was like, oh yeah, did great. So now you guys are going to use AI assisted coding to see how much faster it does it.
Right.
So the challenge was, is it 100% accurate, or can you all spot the mistakes? And we were able to spot the mistakes.
There you go,
We
because
were
you
able to do it
learned it.
right. Because we did it manually
Yeah.
first. And I think that's mind blowing, right? Like, we shouldn't rely on the computer to do our stuff.
Oh,
we
yeah.
should still be able to do a lot of that stuff manually.
Right.
And like you said,
Like,
understand
yeah.
it to better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell my students when, like, you know, intro to psych always starts with statistics and research
Yeah.
methods, so that when we talk about studies, they have, like, a basis of knowledge for understanding, like,
Yeah.
why we're talking about limitations of this.
Yeah.
But it bores the hell out of them.
I wouldn't know. I don't imagine why.
Yeah. Like, you're just like, so anyways.
Come on in.
You need to learn regression. It's like, they're like, hold on, I thought we were learning about, like, criminal minds here. And it's like, yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, but it's like chapter 13. You got to make it through midterms first
Right.
before we get to the fun stuff.
Yeah. Gotta have your vegetables first.
Exactly. And so, legitimately, I open class with, okay, I need you to stick with me. We're going to talk about research methods for, like, an obnoxiously long amount of time, but it's going to make a lot more sense later.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all you need to know is what I am teaching you is how to detect bullshit.
I like it.
Like, you don't need to know the math behind the statistics. You just need to be able to tell that if someone is doing this test, it's actually an appropriate test for what they're trying to do. And that they're not trying to pull one over on you by just throwing numbers and, like,
100%.
yeah, this is scientific because we did this. And it's like,
Yes.
okay, things can be empirical because you ran a test, but if it's not reliable or valid, it's nothing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's basically why I teach the way I do.
That's awesome.
Is like, okay, yes, not all of you are in psychology because you want to be psych majors. This is AGE. So some of you, this is going to be the only time you touch psychology, and then you're peacing out. But all of you minimum should be walking away with, this is how I can tell that someone is trying to pull one over on me. I know something about whatever general education credit I'm learning enough to be able to tell that that doesn't sound right and how to investigate further.
Awesome.
Which is also why I love Bengal Bridge, because it allows me to go back and teach general ed credits. And actually be like, this is why general eds are important. I know all of you just want to do your major and, like, finish school fast, but taking your time, learning a little bit more about different subjects and exploring other things, that's why college exists.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If we just wanted you to immediately only know the things that you needed to know for your jobs, everything would be workforce training. But a university education, even if it's community college or certificates or the 4-year degree or the master's or other graduate degrees or professional degrees, you're learning extra stuff to be a more well-rounded person and essentially to detect bullshit.
Yes. That's the
key.
Yes, that's the thing. Yes. Very cool. Well, Reinalyn, thank you so much for this update podcast episode.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Always happy to be on your podcast for 8 more hours.
And yes, we need to do an 8-hour session again.
Just an all-night, like, Twitch stream.
It would be amazing.
It would be, wow. We get James on there, he'll just have, like, Pac-Man going. Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. Just like, gotta make sure we stay right. I am here with Amy from Idaho State University, who is a student worker for the TRIO Student Support Services program. And they're currently in their program. I'm not going to say which one. I'm going to let Amy kind of do more of that. Amy, what program are you in, and what are you studying?
So I am double majoring in political science and global studies.
Nice.
And that is what I'm studying also.
Wait, did we say that pre-show? I don't think so. I don't think we did, but it's all good. Why political science and global studies? Why those programs? What speaks to you about them?
So I grew up in Idaho, and then as an adult, I lived in the country of Haiti in the Caribbean for a decade, where I learned Haitian Creole. And I did most of my, growing up in Haiti. So when I came back to the States, I was like, oh, what do I do with my life now? Like, I have a lot of experience working with nonprofits and doing all kinds of things, but what does that translate to in small town Idaho? So
I would imagine it's difficult to transfer those skills.
Yeah.
But did you find it difficult, or did you find something that you connected with?
I mean, when I first came back, I worked at a local charter school that's like very community oriented, and so I think that worked out well for me because Haiti's a really community oriented country, and so like I could do it there. But I just wanted more to do more with like the skills that I have. So I think going back to college was my main option, and I'm a non-traditional student, so it's a little different now than it was before. And then also, because I speak Haitian Creole, one of my TRIO advisors actually told me that I could take a test for my language and get credit for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I took a thing called a FLATS test, and then I got 12 credits for $75. Yeah.
Nice.
And so then that kind of put me onto the global studies part. Otherwise, I would have just done political science.
Yeah. You mentioned that you are a non-traditional student, and for our audience, we have folks that listen that are also non-traditional students. What has your experience been like to transition into college?
Well, I'm also a mother of 5.
A mother of 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
And my family just, like I said, we came from Haiti, and so we're in a lot of transition right now of like everyone figuring out culture, what to do, and then like me being a mom, all of us, there's a lot of moving pieces. But I will say that like coming back as a student later in life, where it's like definitely my responsibility to pay for things and like to make my time count, it feels a lot more valuable and important to me. And then I don't know, I just like get so much out of it. Literally like every day I'm in college, I'm like, ooh, I learned this. Ooh, look at this other cool thing I got to talk about today, you know?
It sounds like non-traditional students like really value their education, like, and not to say anything about the traditional students who come in right after high school, maybe go into 3 or 4 classes and they're like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're approaching it as like, oh, I get to learn about this topic.
And I mean, I did try to come to this college also when I was 18. And I think, you know, like when you come when you're 18, it's kind of just like, that's the next step of life. Like, it's not necessarily like a conscious choice, like this is what I want to be doing, but more like this is what I do next, you know? And so when I came at 18, that was like my first taste of freedom, and you like didn't have to go to class, so I did not go to class, and then surprise, I didn't know any of the material. So what's interesting, I'm coming back 20 years later, and I still have to like be on a SAP. I don't know what that's. Do you know what it stands for?
Oh, the Satisfactory Academic Progress.
Yeah, so because I had like failed out at 18.
Oh, so they have to make sure that you're still doing good in your classes, right?
Yeah, so like every semester I have to be like, I had to write a letter the first time, and I was like, it has been 20 years. I'm a much more developed human being now. Please let me be educated. So
I promise I care about my
it is
education.
good though. Like I have to fill it out every semester, and it actually is pretty good for me to like keep myself. Because I mean, I kind of am still that person I was at 18, but a little more responsible.
Evolved as a person.
Slightly.
Yeah. You feel like the having to do that appeal, the satisfactory academic progress thing, that it reminds you why you're here, or does it do anything for you at all, like in terms of accountability?
Oh, for sure, for just accountability. Yeah, because like if I'm starting to get a little behind, I can't just be like, oh well.
Yeah.
Like oh, that could be the end if I don't catch up with it, you know, and like because I'm making that choice now in life and it's a bigger sacrifice now, then I'm like, oh wait, this like if I got to keep my stuff together, you know.
Yeah.
So.
What does trio mean to you?
So it's really interesting because I became a trio. Well, how shall I say this? Trio helped me right when I started looking at college things, and they're the ones who told me to take that test for language, and then that was really my only involvement. And then I knew a lot of people who were in trio. Pretty much all of my friends and their friend group are associated with trio.
Oh,
so there's
cool.
like a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, why am I not like doing trio things, you know? So I signed up to be a student and then started working there shortly after.
Wow.
And so I'm kind of in a weird like I haven't done a lot of things, but I am learning about the things.
But you're also working.
Yeah,
with
for
a
work
trio.
study.
Yeah. How did that happen for you? Like, were you recruited into it? Did you identify like that's a position you can do?
Well, trio had somebody go out and like talk to different classes about something, so I had seen somebody, and then I knew people who like worked with trio or were adjacent to it, and had said like, oh, do you know about this opportunity? They weren't sure, but then as soon as this opportunity came up, they all messaged me, and it's a really good fit. I think it's a great fit for me.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So far, what's been your favorite memory or your experience with trio?
Actually, today was something that was really interesting that happened because everybody is part of a, what is it called? Not a symposium, but like.
Oh, this Idaho Association Trio Professionals Conference,
yes.
or whatever.
So like everybody who's here, who's a trio person, is there, and so I was at the desk today, and it is interesting how much the students like really rely on the people who work in the trio office. Like people were like, where are they? Like I have to talk to them.
Out.
Even like people who didn't need to talk to them were just like needed their presence while they were studying, because there's like, you know, students who come into our office just to study, and they're like, where is Maurice? Like he needs to be here. I'm like, he's like learning. He's like he's okay.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
He's
right
just
now.
downstairs, and they're like, but kid, can he come upstairs for a little bit? And I'm like, oh. I can check if he's on a break, but it happened over and over again.
Yeah.
And people were just like, no, we need the trio people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's really like that presence of trio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Which even like, so for me, even though I'm like an adulty adult supposedly, every time I go to trio, I'm like looking for what snacks are happening in there because I'm like doing school or doing other things. I'm like always on the go. And I'm like, oh, if I go to trio, it's a place like you can sit down, you know it's there. There's definitely going to be snacks included.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. So what year are you in currently? Are you almost done with your program?
I think I'm a junior.
You're a junior equivalent. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. What do you hope to do after you graduate?
So that's a good question. I don't know exactly.
Work for trio?
It's really funny that you said that because someone at Trio was saying to me the other day, is like, once you work here, you might be working here for a while. I wouldn't hate it. I love all the things that Trio stands for. You know?
Yeah.
I love how like community centered it is, and like everybody. I mean, in our office, I don't know how every office is, but in our office, people are like really supportive of each other.
Oh, that's awesome.
And like
Yeah.
whatever, like one of my people who does the same job as me does a lot of advocacy stuff. Whatever he's involved in, all of us are like trying to help him get that going, or whatever things I'm doing. You know, even if it's not trio related,
Right.
everybody's helping each other figure out whatever their life goals are, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as you know, Trio is currently facing a little bit of volatility at the government level, where they may be facing elimination, but just based on funds. But historically, folks have been able to advocate for Trio. Why is it important to advocate for Trio now, and how can communities advocate for Trio?
That's a good question. It is so hard because like I've seen so many programs that I think are so good have problems right now, and like everybody's kind of trying to survive, and it's all the programs that I know that like the people who are part of it really like care about it and are like passionate about it, not just because it's their job, but because it's like aligns with their morals and their values, and it's like truly valuable and important to them. I don't I don't know what advocacy looks like right now, because it almost feels like well, I will say also, like, I have spent most of my adult life in Haiti and not in the United States, so sometimes I don't know what those answers are. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know 100% what advocacy always looks like here. But I do feel like standing up for programs that, like, have diversity as part of them feels, to me, scary right now. Like, how do you stand up for something that's so valuable, but also, like, not throw it under the bus more because someone's going to label it as a diversity program, you know? Even though, like, obviously TRIO serves everyone.
Yeah.
I'm a white girl from Idaho. Like, it's all of us, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And as I pivot to this next question, could you tell us, like, what are some things that you're currently doing to continue the mission of TRIO? And you do a lot.
I don't know how to align it with, like, it's the mission of TRIO exactly, but I think, like, advocacy in my life means standing up for the same populations that TRIO serves. And so, like, that is my life, is, like, making sure that people are having representation, making sure that, you know, I don't know, people are having a voice that their voice isn't always heard, but also, like, but what does that look like? I don't know right now, you know? So, like, I have family that have fragile statuses, and so I know that they are very misunderstood, and part of, like, advocacy is, like, having a voice or giving them a voice. But in these moments, I don't know if you can cut this out if you need to. in these moments, it feels like it's almost dangerous to speak up, and, like, you don't want to put people who already, like, need supports in more fragile places.
Absolutely.
And, you know, so, like, for my family, immigration is, like, not understood where we live. And I feel like we try to have conversations with people like, oh, actually, this isn't how immigration works. It works like this. And people just have, like, this closed off vision.
Oh, yeah.
Of, like,
a misunderstanding of how it really works.
Yeah. And, like, oh, people aren't doing it the right way, or they're not standing in line. And, like, that's not what it is at all. Like, especially as someone who's from Idaho and is an American citizen, I try to, like, use that aspect of it to be like, I speak English, I'm from here. I've applied for 15 plus immigration statuses with my family and friends. This is how it actually works. Sometimes people understand that in those moments, but, like, those are in one-on-one conversations. So I guess maybe that's what advocacy looks like right now.
Yeah.
It's not, here's a broadcast to Facebook, here's the local newspaper, because those things do not get well received where we are anyway. The comments are horrendous.
Yeah.
But in those, like, one-on-one conversations, I guess more understanding comes. So maybe that's what advocacy is.
I like
now.
how you put it at the ground level, because so far what I've heard, at least from various folks, is that they're looking at national level advocacy, and you're saying it really starts with one-on-one, like really getting to the person and having them understand why either an immigration law or the TRIO program is important. So I like how you define that.
Unintentionally.
That was awesome, though. That was awesome. Before we wrap up this podcast, what are some words of wisdom or maybe advice that you have for TRIO students and professionals?
Verbal pause. I don't know. I just think, I don't know that it's specifically that, but, like, in general in life, I think you have to never look at things from just one person's perspective or one type of perspective. And if you go into situations thinking you know what's what, you probably have no idea. So, like, the way that I came to that conclusion is, like, when I went to Haiti, I was a hairstylist. I didn't know anything about anything, so I couldn't go there to tell anybody what was what. I could only be a student. And because I was a student, I got to be connected to things. I got to learn language and culture, but not in a way, like, that I was domineering in that. And just, I guess, so my advice is go into situations as a student to learn from people, from other professionals, like, no matter what your status is, like, your whatever level of power you have, always go into things, like, as a humble person willing to be educated.
I love that. Go into situations as a student. That's wonderful. Well, Amy, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
You did great. Fantastic.
Are you a participant, alum, or staff of a TRIO program? Do you want your program highlighted? You or your program could be featured in an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TRIO. Get a hold of us by going to our Facebook page or Instagram and send us a direct message. Search for Let's Talk Trio. We want to get your story to the public.
You just heard from the Idaho Association of Trio Professionals Conference, a variety of folks who came and stopped by the podcast. Thank you all who participated. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your story and talking about your experience with Trio. Remember, if you would like to be on the Let's Talk Trio podcast or know a staff, advocate, participant, or alumni, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Villalpando, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jeff Naputi, Angelica Valdez, Rosario Riley, Felicia Rivera, Eric Lamaster, Jeff Calden, Rick Martinez, Don Blue Sky Hill, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, Longsdale Publishing, Student Access, and The Trio Store, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for Trio graduation stoles. Thank you all so much for your continued support of this podcast. Remember, you too can sponsor the Let's Talk Trio podcast in one of three ways. Become a monthly patron on Patreon. Our base level starts at $1 a month. Become a corporate sponsor by placing an ad on the podcast. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is at Let's Talk Trio. I'd like to take a moment to thank our honorary members of the Let's Talk Trio podcast, Roderick Chambers, Tony Ho, Scott Kendall, and Susan Cramp. The Let's Talk Trio podcast team is John Russell, audio engineer, music producer and composer, and post-production editor. Amelia Castañeda, script supervisor, marketing manager, social media manager, and producer. Juan Rivas, executive producer and host. Be sure to follow Let's Talk Trio podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This episode was recorded on Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode.